Now, say my name.
Heisenberg.
You're goddamn right.
Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Oh boy. I'm back. I'm back in the command center. It's time for another edition of The Rational Male. What is it about Skrillex haircuts? It's like the Miss Marvel look is popular now. What the hell? It's like every damn video game character has the same haircut. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. I know. Oh, yes, I know. Thank you. Oh, no Ned today. Ned's getting ready to go up to the lake. But first, have you guys seen any good movies lately?
The first time I heard the term Save-A-Hoe, I did not picture a beta male saving a woman from a promiscuous lifestyle and trying to turn her into wife material. I literally pictured a simp action hero actually saving hoes from danger.
What is it with you and these hoes?
This is my life we're talking about. I mean, this is what I do.
The vibe was just good. Like, it was just, I mean, we meshed well.
You know, action, you ready to go, and everybody's in mode. I can't even deny it.
We do move fast, we move quick, but all the talent we have makes it a lot easier.
Good satire to me is starting with a ridiculous fantasy concept, but playing it in a dramatic context at times. If Save-A-Hoe was a real person, he'd be a guy who seriously believes in prioritizing the safety of hoes, and only hoes. Nobody else gets saved.
A lot of these hoes, they don't want to be saved.
There's always a chance.
There's a lot of guys that obviously have a real life Save-A-Hoe complex because they don't understand women. A villain in a lot of ways is usually the voice of reason, so the villains in this scenario would have to be Red Pill. That's where we bring in Rollo TOMASSI.
What if the roles were reversed? Do you think anyone will come save you?
We could do something with this. It's funny. It resonates with what's going on right now. And if you're Red Pill aware, it's even better because you understand the language and you understand the message that's already being presented in it.
In a lot of ways, I think comedy allows you to be honest. I don't think we'd have stand-up comedy without certain Red Pill truths. And I don't think some of our favorite comedians would hit as hard without a little red pill material beneath the surface. But when it's done in comedy, men and women can laugh at it together. We could sort of like laugh at the differences in our nature and like the ridiculousness and all of that.
The mayor's daughter's been kidnapped.
Oh, shit. I understand. And she's a hoe?
It's a comedy. And it's a comedy that takes itself seriously. And I think that that's the best part of this whole thing.
He made sure he called me for the Chocolate Daddy shit. And I'm like, yo, listen, I didn't know how to take it at first. I'm like, fuck it. And I went in there, I did my thing.
Obviously, he gets into his character a lot. Yeah, Chocolate Daddy's a good villain. I like that.
A lot of people don't even realize 80% of the cast, they are rappers.
The cool thing about a small budget production is it forces you to be authentic. The guns are real, the punches are real.
Closer to my mouth, not my lips, but not the fucking knockout spot.
Yeah. Whoa, you really hit him. I felt it. I heard that shit.
In the midst of it, we're trying to tell him not to jump arm first into the table. OC was in there trying to help him up. He's shaking on the ground. He's like, oh. Did we get the scene? Everybody like, did we get the scene? Like, oh my God, look at your arm. What are you talking about?
I had a feeling something bad was gonna happen that night.
I watched the first episode and I thought, hey, this is some great stuff.
We literally watched the show. That's what you call the show. Dude come up to me like, yo, my name's Save-A-Hoe, you know what I'm saying? I do music. He's like, yo, I'm about to go on. So we watched his set and the motherfuckers killed it. I'm like, yo, who the fuck are them white boys? They not like original white boys. They the blackest white boys I ever fucking seen.
I wanted to do something that could be sort of imperfect, but still play well and still flow nicely.
He says, hey, we need you to be a gangster. We need you to be a bad guy. I said, I can do that.
Man, you got Rollo TOMASSI get involved? Shit, man. We about to go up.
The first time I heard the...
Oh, that's it. Oh man, thank you very much. Oh yes, sorry to put you through that. I promise I won't do that again. I won't. I had to put that up there. I did put it. I hosted a Rule 0 yesterday, and I let that one ride for a little while. But this is my first day back, so I figured, what the hell, I'll just do this one as well. So yeah, that's something that I am working with. I don't know. I don't even know what to really call my role in all of that, besides just like I'm doing bit acting, I guess. Is that what they call it? And but it was fun. I that's why there was no show, by the way, last Sunday, because I was flying back from Connecticut, because that's where Kevin Save-A-Hoe and his brothers and his film crew and all of his friends do this. Well, we're going to call it Save-A-Hoe, because we can't call it Captain Save-A-Hoe, because that's been trademarked. Thank you very much. However, he is a captain, and his name is Save-A-Hoe. It's a comedy. It's a series that I'm working with Kevin on. I can give you guys the background of it at some point. I kind of want to get. Thank you very much for that, by the way. I have done acting in the past, as a lot of my black pill detractors would love you to know. So there you go. That's nothing. It's actually no secret. I've been doing it for quite some time. So I am, yeah. Sorry, I'm going to shill just a touch. Thanks, Infamous Rifle. So I am working on this project. They're in episode 2. I will be in episode 2. That's what you're seeing. There's a whole lot more to that. I've got about a 2.5 minute scene in it that I can't give away because they're not done yet. Kevin is an independent film producer. He's also kind of a rapper, I guess. Is that what I'm gonna butcher this whole thing, because I know he's doing a shoot right now. But if you listen to not last week's show, but the prior week before that, I played one of his songs, which is Thought Mommy's in the Club. And they're doing the video for that right now. And I may or may not make an appearance in that. We'll see. Which means, yes, I will be making an appearance in that too. It was a lot of fun. And the guys are great. He is he's one of 4 brothers, the Save-A-Hoe brothers. And that's really their name, Kevin Save-A-Hoe, S-A-V-O. And they hit me up. Well, I mean, Kevin's been working on me for a while. It's one more of those things where it's like, hey, check this out. Check out this project. Check out this whole thing. And I'm like, all right, I'll look at it. And I think it was right after I had gone on with the guys from Masculine Geek, and we had talked about how it's necessary for like the red pill or whatever we're calling this. I don't know right now. Certainly the manosphere, certainly the red pill, to push back against this narrative. We constantly complain. We constantly, bitch and moan and gripe about how Star Wars has been corrupted by Kathleen Kennedy, right? Or it's all of or Marvel. Disney is just is completely running roughshod over these classic Americana brands / franchises, IPs and stuff like that, and how it's just everywhere. And we had come to a conclusion at one point where it's like, well, we need to do something, right? I mean, you have to create your own culture. And I've said this actually on this show, as well as on the Masculine Geek show, which is, if you want to, I give you this recipe, right? I keep telling you guys this. If you want to make $1 million, if you want to be a millionaire, you need to push back against the narrative. You need to write red pill fiction. You need to write red pill music. You need to push it back into the popular consciousness. And I would hope, and people keep, they come back at me and they throw rocks at me for saying, it's going to dilute and distort the true meaning of the red pill. And yeah, it is. I've talked about this with Meyer, and I've talked about this with other guys on Rule 0 as well. As I'm concerned about, of course, the message getting sort of diluted, going purple pill or whatever else. But at what point do we start like creating? I've mentioned here before, and I will probably do it once I'm done with book 5, which by the way is really coming close right now. but I want to get into writing some red pill fiction. I want to start doing stuff within this framework, within the red pill context. And this is my sort of first foray into doing that. Now, what happens after this? I don't know. Certainly, I'm not sure Netflix would be really, amenable to this kind of stuff, but who knows, right? You got a series, it becomes popular. So my encouragement to you guys is, if this is something that you like, and I think you probably will, the first episode, by the way, is already up and available on Kevin Save-A-Hoe's site. You can find that out. You will find that in the description once I'm done here today. If you want to go look at it, right? Please don't go right now. Don't go away. But if you want to look at that, the first episode is actually linked in pretty much all of the teaser videos that I put on my own channel, and I can't imagine you guys haven't already seen those. So thank you guys for checking that stuff out. And I think it has potential. I wouldn't put my name on it if I didn't think it had potential. So there you have it. How we doing? How's everybody doing? Oh yeah. I am going to be gone next week. I've got some pre-recorded material for Wednesday's show. I'm going to be doing maybe some live stuff from Lake Tahoe next week. I live about an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes away from Lake Tahoe here in Reno, Nevada, of course. So I will be up there at the lake. I have new wave runners. I'll be riding my wave runners, probably fishing, probably doing some other stuff, but it's a good opportunity to, assuming the smoke from the fires doesn't make everything look like hell. But I'm going to be doing some live video. So check my Instagram feed next week for that kind of stuff. And that's what I got going on. Let's dig in today. I have this great chick right here. Where did she go? Of course, now I have to share this video, so you bear with me. I'm going to have to cue this up real fast. Oh, here we are.
If men hadn't believed this myth, I would have been having great casual sex in my early 20s. If you unlearn this myth, you can get laid 10 times more. Guarantee it.
10 times more, man. That almost sounds like getting laid, I don't know, 1,300 times in a year. But that's none of my business. Anyways, so gentlemen, this is Caitlin V. Caitlin V is part of the, I'm gonna call her it's not really new wave. I'll mess with my camera today. Today is the first day I'm back in the studio, and I'm not messing with natural light, so please bear with me. I might have to tweak the white balance a touch. Caitlin is one of these. Gosh, for lack of a better term, I'm just going to say a sales funnel marketer. She's a niche marketer is what she is. She's just like our good friend. Where'd she go? There she is. Marnie. Hey, Marnie. How you doing, Marnie? Remember her? You probably don't remember her because, maybe you will soon, because she takes out ads on my channel all the time. So when you're looking at the ads that I insert, I don't get to say who gets to advertise or who doesn't, but she's taken a liking to this channel. So you've probably seen our good friend Marnie. Let me put her back up there. Maybe you can see this. Yeah, there we go. Now you can see Marnie. Is the face familiar? I'm sure it is. So that's our good friend. She's also one of these new wave. I'll say new wave. I can't even really say new wave because she's been around for a while. But it's this wave of female dating coaches who are trying to make inroads, let's just say, into the red pill and into the manosphere per se. It's almost, at least it's not OnlyFans. Okay, at least it's not OnlyFans. That's all I'm going to say in that sense. If you go to Caitlin V's website, if you go, please, you don't have to. I put as a courtesy, Caitlin, I put your link in my description here. This is from about a year ago. I think this is 2020, summer 2020. It might have been July of 2020. Somebody gave me this video and they said, I really love to do a breakdown of this. And I get these all the time. People say, do the breakdown of this, especially when it comes to chick talk and, TikTok. And I've been doing some of those too. And thank you and keep those coming, by the way. But usually I don't know if I really want to use this kind of niche marketeer. as an example, but this was an exception because these are like myths that I can sort of sink my teeth into, and there's like 10 of them here. And before you hack up and discuss and say this is just Rollo Tomassi like feeding the red meat, yeah, it is. But remember, whenever it's steak, there's also sizzle, and there's sizzle, there's also steak. So I try to give you a nutritious meal in addition to a good tasting meal at the same time when it comes to this stuff. So, so our good friend here, Caitlin V, makes me think that she is sort of cut from the same cloth as Marnie Wing Girl, and this is a sort of a set, and there's others too, by the way. It's not just these two are the most, I think, notorious right now. I think Caitlin is a little bit more, let's just say she's a little more visible because of that haircut. She's a little bit more visible. She's done some TEDx talks too. I don't know if Marnie's ever done anything like that, but let's just be honest. This is sales funnel stuff. And if you go to our website, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. It's very much that same Joomla template. What is it? Forget the guy's name. Who wrote was something Walker wrote launch. It's right out of product launch formula. Everything on here is pretty much niche formulas. Niche marketing is what it is. And if you look at her links to the people who are also part of her channel links in here, you'll get that feeling. You'll understand she might. I don't know if she has a handler. She might have a handler. Anybody know if she has a handler or not? I'm not really sure. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like you've got an OnlyFans girl who's got like guys behind her sort of telling her what to say and what makes it look. I'm glad you said that. She looks feminist as AF. Yeah, I can't swear just yet. We're not past the 30-minute mark. Yeah, she does. And at the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why that is an accurate assessment, my friends. So I'm unfamiliar with this girl. I think she's shown up in my feed a couple of times, and that's about it. This is not someone who is for real. This is somebody who is just simply, this is her outreach, right? This is her engagement. And the idea is to get you to, sign up for a course, sign up for counseling, sign up for whatever it is. And again, do I do that? Yeah, I do. But I've been doing it for 20 years, and I'm not a dating coach. I am not a sexologist, that's for sure. I'm a guy who connects dots. So we're going to connect some dots for you here. Now, what is it about this video that I thought was interesting enough to actually make it into a show? Well, she comes up with 10 myths here, and it's like I can sink my teeth into the myths. So once again, I know I've probably already given you the build up here, and people give me shit about this all the time, but it's like, I'm not attacking her. All right. She's if anything, admire the hustle, right? I respect the hustle because she's definitely a hustler. She's definitely in the hustle economy. Marnie Wing Girl, you're definitely in the hustle economy as well. However, one of the, say, maxims of the manosphere has always been never take women's dating advice seriously. And of course, people will say, well, of course, the deer doesn't teach the wolf how to catch it. No. It's worse than that. That's a nice, easy way to sort of dismiss like why you shouldn't take advice from women when it comes to dating. Because every dating coach I have ever heard that possesses a vagina has said pretty much the same thing. Qualify to me. That's all it is. In fact, she's going to say the same thing here because it's that standard Oprah pablum. Okay. It's a standard trope. All of these myths are tropes. And that's why I was kind of joking around with the title of this show and the thumbnail, of course. This is the top 10 myths that women believe, that men believe about women. Because she's saying, oh, the guys believe these myths. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's grist for the mill. Got it. Understand. Let's move on. Again, not attacking her personally. I'm sure she's probably a very nice person. And apparently she really loves sex a lot. So there's a bonus for you. So if you go and you look at any of her videos, it's mostly like how to do anal and how to give a proper blowjob. And, okay, maybe you're actually helping out maybe if that's for the women, then great. But a lot of her dating advice here for guys tends to be very, let's just say, gynocentric, and is very much wrapped up in what you probably would expect is very much a blue pill narrative. And for most of that, and usually when women are giving men dating advice, it's not how to catch the deer. How does the wolf catch the deer? That doesn't happen. Okay. but it's how does the wolf qualify so that the deer will go, okay, you got me. Okay, no problem. I'm yours now. That's essentially what it comes down to. That's why that's a ridiculous analogy, because usually that's what it is. Well, if the wolf was just learned how to lick pussy, and if the wolf was just more of a man, or if the wolf was, learned to be emotional and vulnerable, and okay, stop. Just stop. Okay, we're going to move on through this, but you'll get the idea as we sort of move through this video, and it's probably easier if I just show you.
They say what you don't know can hurt you. And in this case, what you think you know can actually hurt you worse. And by hurt you worse, I mean prevent you from getting laid, having a long-term successful relationship, or finding true satisfaction with a woman. Today, we're...
All right, so standard pablum, standard, oh, you have a problem that I can fix, right? That's usually what it is, right? I mean, especially when it's when it's marketeering. It's describe the problems that you're going to fix. And if you don't know these things, if you don't unlearn these things, gentlemen, if you're not watching this and let's all take notes, right? If you're not taking notes, then this is going to prevent you from getting laid, because probably the reason you're watching this in the first place is because you're not getting laid. But
talking about the 10 myths that men believe about women. And you are going to want to buckle up, because, it is going to be a bumpy ride. I'm going to tell you this right from the get-go. There's going to be at least one of these that you go, no, that's not a myth. I believe that 1000%. A girl did that to me. A woman did that. My ex did that. She's a stupid. You can find exceptions to every single rule, but I beg you, if you want to have great sex, if you want to have great relationships, if you want to have a happy life with a banging happy wife, then check these out.
All right. Let's just stop right there for a moment, because she's already feeding into this. This is a good sort of, God, that was a great screen cap, wasn't it? Look at those. I apologize, Kayla. I didn't do that on purpose. So first and foremost, what she's talking about here is exceptions to the rule. She's kind of let's say what's called tilling the fields, right? She knows this is going to come up later on in the video, or whoever's writing her script for her knows that, because I'm half certain that she's got handlers that are doing scripts for her. So there you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she could be. She's competition. You think she's competition for the chicks? I don't know. Maybe she is. So she's already planting the seed here, and I need to address this, because I get run up the flagpole for this one as well, because a lot of guys or a lot of women, especially women love this one, because what women have a tendency to do when they are presented with empirical evidence, you will see this happen all the time on Fresh and Fit, when they are presented with empirical evidence and they don't have any comeback to that, when they don't have any data, when they don't have a counter argument, let's just say. They usually opt for two things. One of them is the easiest one, right? They reach the point of diminishing returns, and then they go, who hurt you? All right, that's to drag you back into the emotional side. That's to drag you into an emotional argument rather than a rational argument. Because up to that point, you've been saying, okay, I'm going to state my case. Here's all the data I have. Here's the statistics. Here's the experience that dozens, hundreds and thousands of men all over the planet have been aggregated right now, because we have this forum called SOSWA. We have this thing called the Manosphere. We got all this other stuff. So we can not only show our work through stats and data and research and evolutionary psychology, evolutionary biology, anthropology, sociology, like all the little subfields of what we call the manosphere right now, show you all of that, lay it on the line. Here you go. What do you got to say? Who hurt you? That's usually number one. Number two is this: you're making sweeping generalizations. This is what she's trying to preempt right here. And women will do this all the time. Well, there's always exceptions to the rule, and it might be you guys. You might have been burned. Like, that's essentially what she's saying right here. She's trying to cover for the who hurt you thing, right? Well, I know a girl who did all these things, so I believe in these myths. Well, if you don't unlearn them, then you'll never get laid again. No. It comes back down to, like, what do we use as, and I don't think I've ever done a show about this before. I even really talked about this topic too much in depth, but when you're applying scientific method, when you're applying scientific method, it's usually based on the generalities, right? The commonalities that we're looking in a group. And the largest pool, is this consistent? We're looking for human beings are fantastic at pattern recognition. Is that an outlier, or is that part of the general consensus? That's what we are looking for. That's what we can build, what are called predictive frameworks. And that, my friends, is what game is based on anyways. It should be. And that's what the red pill really is. The red pill is just connecting dots, and it creates a predictive framework. So when people say, well, the red pill is an ideology, no, it's a praxeology. And I've talked about that before. But once you get past the sort of loose science of the praxeology, then you've got what's known as a predictive framework. And that's usually what women get upset about. So when I start talking about like, well, all women are like that. Not all women are like that. All women are like that, right? Whenever I am talking about the general natures of women, I'm going by a general consensus. The trick of all of this is what's called whataboutism. What about this? What about that? What about this anecdotal? What over here? What about this? So, some tribe in New Guinea has a matriarchy. Okay, well, we can certainly consider that as part of an outlier to the general truth that men tend to be stronger. We tend to be the more dominant sex. We tend to be more interested in sex. On and on and on. That the generalities that define the predictive framework of what is masculine, it was conventional masculinity, and what is conventional femininity. So when women say, "Oh, you're making sweeping generalizations," what about the Mongols in 1860 who lived in this kind of? It's general. Yeah, got it. Okay, and the exception generally speaking proves the rule. Okay, science works in generalities. End of story. Sorry if that offends you. Now, why is that? I kind of have to touch on this really quickly. This is sort of a preface for the rest of this stuff, because this is going to apply to pretty much all of these myths. But what happens is women have this tendency to apply, because women are innately solipsistic, they tend to apply their own personal experiences to conflate that to the general whole. So, well, that's not true in my case. Well, if we were just talking about your case, then maybe we'd have something to talk about. And maybe this would end the discussion right here. But we're not just talking about your case. We're talking about the general whole. So if you happen to be the special snowflake outlier, there's nothing I can really do about that, because that's not the topic of what we're talking about right now. It's just when men say, feminized men, but when women say, just because you're revealing all of these unflattering truths about women's nature, you should really cover men's unflattering nature too. I do, but guess what? In this podcast, we're talking about women's unflattering, truths about women's natures, right? Generally speaking, not all women are like that. Yeah, I know. That's why we have that little acronym, NAWALT. Not all women are like that. Yeah, that's why we have that. That's also a variation of what's called whataboutism. And that's actually, I don't say that's a scientific term, but it's, if you go and you look up whataboutism, it's all one word, whataboutism. That's a sociological, psychological dynamic. You can find that on, God forbid, Wikipedia, but you can find articles about what's called whataboutism. Women love whataboutism. And it's almost like that's the reflexive default, is to go to whataboutism. Well, it's not true in my case. Okay. Tell us about your case, because we know go ahead and say what you're going to say. Okay. Now, can we move on to the predictive generalities here so that we can actually form a predictive framework out of this? No. So that's a Cappy move. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, I don't want to steal that. That's a Cappy finishing move. No. There's your screenshot for the day. My jazz hands. So when we're talking about generalities and we're talking about exceptions to the rule, women love the exceptions to the rule because it implies solipsism. So if she knows somebody that is in such a way, or so she has a best friend who went through some kind of experience that sort of conflicts with what the general wholes are, usually they're not as conflicting or not as exclusive or not as anecdotal as they would like to seem. It's usually they want to just simply talk about themselves, or how does that generality apply to themselves? And that's the default reflexive response for most women, because they don't have any rational, reasonable, empirical data that provides a reasonable counter argument. So there you have that. I wanted to make sure that I put that out there because there's a lot of stuff in here that's going to be I guess for lack of a better word, experiential. Okay. So here we go. Let me put her back in. Where'd you go, girl? There you are.
Check your judgments at the door and let's get rolling.
Oh man, I should have let that one go all the way. Check your judgments at the door. There's nothing that has defined this era, this generation. Well, the last 4 generations, really. There's nothing that defines gynocentrism like leave your judgment. Like, don't be judgmental. No, guys. Let me here. We're going to debunk the first myth. Be judgmental. Be as judgmental as you possibly can. Be as discerning as you possibly can. Be so judgmental and so discerning as if your life depended on it. Because generally speaking, it does. It actually does. So be judgmental. That's the whole point of debunking myths, right? In fact, the act of actually going through and like what she's about to do here to try to debunk myths is being judgmental. It's being discerning. So keep that in mind. I really need to do a full show on judgmentalism. I talk about that quite a bit in book 4, just so you know.
But first, who am I? I'm Caitlin V. I am a sex and relationship coach. My job is to help you have the best sex of your life. And the reason I'm making this video is because these myths get in the way of great sex. What you think you know prevents you from having awesome sex, from asking for great sex, from approaching women to even try to have sex with them, to you name it. These are things that get in the way. And if you didn't believe these harmful myths, you would be having a lot more, a lot better, and a lot more satisfying sex. So that's what I'm here to do. Let's get it rolling.
Now, imagine you're one of the guys who fits into this statistically speaking. You're one of the guys who is 18. You're in the demographic of 18 to 24, 29 from the CSS study, where you're not getting any sex, period. And you definitely have this problem. How do I lose my virginity? Well, maybe I should listen to Caitlin and her Skrillex haircut here and figure out why it is that I should be. What are these myths that are holding me back? Well, we're going to find out, but that's the premise of all of this. Let me throw this up real quick. Thanks, man. I guess you get one of these. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Rollo, for opening my eyes. I was trying to get with a girl for a very long time. I always was not good enough for her. Now spinning plates and suddenly she's jealous. I'm sure. Yeah. We will come back to that. I have some other sound drops here too, but we'll get into those. Do you like sound drops? Some people don't. Some people do. Where we go? Here we are.
Let's silence our phones first, class. Myth number 1. Women only care about money and power.
Do not go gentle into that good night.
I just silenced you. Why are you still talking to me? Shh. The reason that it's so problematic is twofold. Number 1, painting 51% of the world that they're only dating and mate based off of financial well-being or power over other people is just an oversimplification and an essentialization of women. But after that, it's just factually not accurate.
Oh, well, certainly she'll have links to all the factually accurate information that shows that women are really not interested in money or power. Now, I like how she phrases this first off. Okay, so this is the money and power thing. I want to say this is kind of like the beta buck side of hypergamy here. And I think statistically speaking, empirically speaking, the factual inaccuracy is to think that women aren't interested in this whatsoever. The higher propensity for incidence of divorce that occurs after a woman gets a raise in pay, she gets a promotion at work, she outclasses her husband, let's just say economically. We can also look at the data sets. Ever since from what, 2018 all the way through even now, I think, but certainly 2018, 2019, I was reading articles. I can remember reading articles with Pat Campbell about how women find men economically unattractive. So clearly money does make some kind of a difference here. And along with that comes a certain amount of power. And maybe power is really not the word that we should be looking for here. There's a sense of authority. And that authority is really derived from natural gender roles, from conventional gender roles. I'm not going to say traditional, conventional, evolved gender roles. Women are looking for a man who is in control. He has the bag, right? He's the guy. He's a high value man, the high value guy, because we don't want to say alpha anymore because that wouldn't be politically correct. So now we're going to say high value guy. So that guy usually is making, at least according to numbers in the data sets that I have, is making at least 58% more than the woman that he's with. That makes him economically desirable. We see this all the time on every damn episode of Fresh and Fit when it goes to that, when they do the, Fresh and Fit with 9 girls or 10 girls or 4 girls. I don't care how many girls are there. The story's pretty much the same. They use the same language. They make the same mistakes. They all have the same ideas. They have no idea where they got those ideas from. But the fact of the matter is this: the first thing out of those girls' mouths, as young as 18 and as old as 38, is the same thing. I need a man who's paid. I need a man with benefits. That's what they need. So that's where this is coming from. This isn't a myth. This is data. Oop, my bad. Now I screwed up. Hang on one second. What did I do?
2, women's mate choices are fine.
Oh, wait, we're going to let me come back. She didn't finish her sentence here. There we go.
Their phones, first class. Myth number 1, women only care about money and power.
Do not go gentle into that good night.
I just silenced you. Why are you still talking to me? Shh. The reason that it's so problematic is twofold. Number 1, painting 51% of the world, they're only dating a mate based off of financial well-being or power over other people, is just an oversimplification and an essentialization of women. But after that, it's just fact.
Okay. Remember that. Remember that part right there. The power over people and everything else. Okay, so power is a sort of defined here as a classical assertion of power. That's important because we're going to come back to that.
Truly not accurate. I know so many women who are in happy relationships with men who have neither money nor power. And I'm sure that if you think about it, you can think of a dozen or more examples of women that are in relationships that are not about money and power. Okay.
Yeah. Most of those relationships, by the way, don't last very long. First off, women tend to get out of those because the guy doesn't have them. And usually it's based on another thing that she's about to talk about here. But when guys I have been in those relationships myself, right? Like, I have no money, but women certainly wanted to keep me around. What do you suppose they want to keep a guy around for that doesn't have who doesn't have any prospects, doesn't have any money? What else? What could it be? What could it be? Why would a woman keep? Oh, it's got to be love, right? No, usually it's because he was easy, convenient sex. So whenever we're looking at the hypergamous equation, we're looking at 2 sides: alpha seed and beta need. If that guy, if benefits cannot be resources and benefits cannot be derived from the beta buck side, they must be being derived from the other side. So keep that. That's actually a pretty good maxim. I think I should probably keep that. I have to write that down somewhere. Somebody probably should.
Okay, so one of the major reasons that this is not true, even if it ever was true, and even if it is true for some women, it's not so true anymore because women are major breadwinners. We, as a collective, earn a lot more money than we used to for ourselves. And the expectation growing up in the world today for a woman is that she earn her own money. Therefore, she's no longer dependent on a man because, let's face it, the majority of women have a job. They are breadwinners, they have college educations, they grew up being told they need to be able to look after themselves and get paid. Therefore, they're no longer looking at men to do so.
But it does sound to me, Caitlin, it does sound to me here that by that logic, they are actually interested in money. Otherwise, why would they be going and doing that? Are they interested in power? Are they interested in authority? Why do we have more and more women in Congress, in politics, in the workplace, in college? Why? Are they searching for this nebulous equality? Well, we'll find out about that later on, of course. But it sounds to me like money and power is pretty important to women. Don't you say it? Don't you think? Because like a minute ago, you're talking about how it's not important. there's plenty of girls. I know anecdotal evidence. I know plenty of women who are with a guy who doesn't make as much money as they do. Yeah, for now, I'm sure they are. But the fact of the matter is that women, when it comes to long-term security, are looking for a guy who has benefits or at least has prospects. Remember what Rich Cooper says. I'm going to quote Rich one more time here, which is, women don't care about your struggles, gentlemen. They only care about, they wait at what is it? They wait at the finish line and they bang the winners. That's what women do. And in the absence, but not all women can be the ones that are waiting at the finish line for the winners to cross, that the winner says, okay, I'll get with you, or you can lock me down. So what women have to do is they have to be discerning, and they have to be judgmental, and they have to figure out whether you are a high value man or not. And part of that value is, of course, the amount of money you have, which also translates to your drive, your options, your talents, you becoming a man, right? Your burden of performance right there. So that's myth number one. Myth number one that we're going to debunk right now is what she's saying is, man, you don't need to worry about your burden of performance. You don't need to worry about money. Women aren't into you just for your money. They're into you for this really ephemeral, esoteric, we're higher evolved beings, and we don't think about money and resources and things like that. We're just into you for you. Man, that's some good news. That is some good news, Mr. Incel. That's some good news, Mr. Black Pill, because they're really into you for you. I just want a woman who loves me the same way that I love her. Yes, just be yourself, guy. That sound like just be yourself, because that's really essentially what that is.
The reason this myth is so damaging is because men often don't go after women because they assume that they don't have enough money or they don't have enough power in order to get that woman. And that is why this myth is so damaging and why I started off making it number one.
Okay, so that part I do agree with. Most guys who seem to think like, if you watch Kevin Samuels, or you watch Fresh and Fit, or you watch this show even, guys who are like saying, well, I'm not, what is it? They're always told, make the money first. Disregard women and acquire resource, acquire currency, right? That meme. And I think that they can't get laid, or they can't go out and start, learn game. They can't do anything to in some way improve their bearing, their like it's a burden of performance, right? They can't do something that's because they can't get to the woman until they get to the money. It's kind of like, what is it? The Scarface game, right? First you get the money, then you get the money, you get the power. And once you get the power, then you get the girls, right? Okay, well, yeah, it's great for Tony Montana in 1980, but we live in 2021 right now. So, and I can tell you right now that the most amount of sex that I had in my rock star 20s, there you go, ding, drink, was when I had two nickels to rub together. I mean, my liquid assets consisted of a beat up Toyota pickup truck with no tailgate and all of the musical equipment I had, like my amps and my guitars. That was it. I lived in a one-bedroom studio apartment in North Hollywood in the late 80s and early 90s, and I got laid like tile. Not because I had money, but because I had something that women wanted. I was the character they wanted to bang. I was the experience that they wanted to have. So yes, in a sense, she's correct. You don't have to be like paid. You don't have to be like, Daddy Warbucks to get laid, right? Or to even attempt to go out and do it. So that's what she's saying. Well, just because you don't have money doesn't mean you shouldn't go out and approach. Okay, I agree. But the other part of it is that she's right for the wrong reasons. Let's just leave it at that.
Number two, women's mate choices are biologically predetermined. Now, this goes back to number one. The idea that comes from evolutionary biology that women are simply products of their genetic code and they're trying to find the best genes for their children. Now, there is a bit of truth to the fact that we choose our mates based on many, many, many different factors. And there's been some good research that shows that things like pheromones do play a role.
So of those many, 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 many factors, she stops at pheromones. No. No, Caitlin, can I please educate you on this? This is the alpha seed side of the equation here of hypergamy. Okay, obviously, well, women's mate choices are completely biological. Well, not completely, but largely so. Yes, and that also goes back to women's nature. And I think one of the problems that I have, okay, she's a niche marketer. I'm getting into the reasoning and the rationale behind this. Okay, I don't care who she is. She could be Marnie Wingirl for all I care, but it's because it's the same argument. It's the same pitch, right? But that pitch is based on a misguided understanding about human nature and a very misguided understanding about women's own nature, because it's not in women's best interests to have certainly a guy like me or anybody else of the red pill even asking the questions. Right? We can make assertions and sort of like come to conclusions and connect dots. That's one thing that we do. But even just asking the question about like whether or not women are into muscular guys, I think it's pretty obvious. And that's part of evolutionary psychology, not evolutionary biology, although that plays in too. So this is, I think I have seen, particularly when it comes to the female dating coaches who try to be red pill dating coaches. There is this overwhelming need to sort of downplay biology. There is this overwhelming need to sort of, obscure, obfuscate, I guess, blur the lines that are hard to come back from, right? They have no counter argument for. Usually whenever you drop biological facts on women, that's when they almost unanimously defer to who hurt you, right? You reach the point of diminishing returns. So when we start talking about the many reasons why women go for guys, she stops at pheromones, probably because pheromones are easier to sort of like obfuscate, because the data and the research on pheromones is human pheromones anyways. Insect pheromones we got down. What is it? Hamsters and gerbils and mice and rats. We got those pheromones down. But when we talk about human beings, the jury's still out. But either way, there are still behavioral like manifestations for the way that a person is thinking. Like when a woman wears the hoop earrings, right? Or she puts on the red dress, or it's called sexual ornamentation. And women usually, according to ovulatory shift anyways, when you see those hoop earrings, you'll hear me joke about this occasionally, or you'll see me like if I'm in the chat or something in somebody's stream and I'm noticing hoop earrings, I'll just do hashtag hoop earrings, because that usually means that she's ovulating or she's in that phase of the menstrual cycle. If you go and you look at earrings, now this is on you. If you're a connoisseur of pornography, look at the earrings of the female performers that you like the most. I will guarantee you they are hoop earrings. I don't know why. There's got to be a reason. Somebody can tell me why the reason is it's a hoop earring and not like just a stud or something like that. But it is what it is. The red dress, women wearing tight, the red dress, and even in the Matrix, right? That tight fitting red dress, that's sexual ornamentation. It's advertising. So there are lots and lots. She's right about this. There's many, many, many different reasons, and they're all physical, and they all correlate with everything that has to do with evolutionary biology and evolutionary psychology. I don't think this is going to be any kind of revelation to the guys who are in my audience here. You know this, but this is sort of like she's like an eel in the weeds here, like trying to get around the biological factors, because they're very unflattering. Women don't have a comeback to that. It's revealing the game. And that's very threatening to women. And I understand that, because if guys can learn the game, they can find ways and methodologies to get around that game.
However, I think that is less so today, at this day and age, than it has ever been before. I believe that people find and attach to each other for a lot of reasons. Convenience, they met on the internet where they didn't even have a chance to smell each other, etc. And I think that,
again with the pheromones, really to smell each other. You think so? Smelling would be the number one way that I gotta have this guy. That's it. It's like I watched my greyhound sniffing each other. Like, it's funny. If you read my fourth book, you'll know this. I actually did a little bit of comparison. I don't know. I was at the end of my fourth book, and I was describing how greyhounds know, or dogs' noses in general, but like greyhounds can like smell like 40 times better than human beings can. Maybe it's even 400 times. I'm not really sure, but just they experience their world through their noses, and they choose to sniff each other's ass. Where is this coming from? Is that's like not even the top tip of the iceberg when it comes to evolutionary psychology and evolutionary biology, when it comes to intersexual dynamics, Caitlin. Those are some things that you really need to look into, particularly if you are a quote unquote sexologist. One would think that you would know this already. And if you are giving, if you're going on, you're going on Cosmo and you're, I don't know, whatever we're being interviewed by, you owe it to the people who follow you to be accurate. Okay. So, if I'm going to hold anyone's feet to the fire, whether it's her or anyone else, just know this: I have an obligation to objective truth. And I think that if you're going to bill yourself as a relationship coach or a dating expert or a quote unquote sexologist, I guess technically I'm a sexologist too, right? But I have an obligation to objective truth, and I think so do you. And this is just you avoiding and ditching that question. What did you guys have to say here? I'm here because of F&F. I'm so grateful to you, Rollo, for continuing to be a pioneer in the red pill space. Thank you. You guys have changed my life by giving me the tools to control the frame in my life and relationship. Good for you. People want to say, oh, you can't use game and red pill in your relationship. Oh, no. In fact, the necessity for red pill and understanding game and everything else is more pronounced. If anything, it's hyper real in a relationship. So yeah, because the margin for error in a marriage or a long-term relationship is much slimmer than when you are spinning plates. That's why I keep saying, spin plates for date non-exclusively. Let's stop. Wait, that's hurtful language. Okay, date non-exclusively at least until you're 30, gentlemen. Okay, keep that going and keep your options open. Women want to keep their options open. You can too, and you'll be in a much better place of sexual selectivity when you get there. What do you have to say? It's hard to imagine a woman with a haircut like that spouting anything factual or reasonable. The higher the woman's body count, the less she seems to know about men. Funny how that works. Well, yeah, we're going to hold that thought, AQ. I don't even know what the hell the rest of your thing is.
We are evolving into a higher, more conscious place where women are not stuck choosing their genetic material over things like emotional intelligence or ability to be vulnerable with them, or the fact that they're just a reliable, steady human being who knows how to lick pussy and change light bulbs.
There we go. Wait, let's go back to that. I want to get to all of these. Is that it? Oh, wait, come back. There we go. That's a good one right there. Let's leave that. See that? There you go. There's your checklist. This is what women really want. It doesn't matter if you have a dad bod. Are you emotionally available? Are you vulnerable? Are you reliable? Are you steady? Do you know how to lick cooter? And do you know how to change a light bulb, right? Do you know how to do all those things? Can you be serviceable? This is the quality checklist, by the way, I should say. Remember, how we talk about how women have the, Royce used to say in the past, women have a 436 bullet point checklist. Maybe it's more. Right. And it's staggering. Got to be hot. Got to have a job. Got to love puppies. Got to be emotional. Got to be reliable. Got to be vulnerable. Blah, 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 blah. Right. All of the, well, let's look at the first two. The first two are emotional appeals. The second one is sort of an appeal to the beta buck side of things. So is steady, whatever the hell that means. Licks pussy. Well, okay, that I guess we could go to the alpha seed side of hypergamy. Change light bulbs, must be competent in physical labor. Wow. Nice. Awesome. Sound like somebody you guys want to get involved with. All right. So that's her checklist, at least. And this is how more evolved women make their choices, right? We're evolved above our physicality. We're not animals rutting in the forest anymore. We're looking for emotional guys who can be vulnerable, guys who are reliable, guys who are steady, guys who know how to lick cooter, and guys who are, change light bulbs, right? And don't, but wait, there's
change light bulbs. If you don't know how to do that first one, check out my course. She comes too.
Yep, shameless plug.
Number 3, women.
Don't worry, I will teach you how to lick snatch. Does she look like she could teach you how to lick snatch? Do you think she's probably into it? I don't know.
Don't care about looks as much as men. Women do care about how you look. They just don't care in the same capacity as you may care about.
Well, that's funny because caring about the way a guy looks, that sounds a lot like the biological DNA stuff that's baked into your DNA. That sounds an awful lot like the alpha fuck side of hypergamy. So it's funny, as I should have titled this video something else. I should have titled it, Caitlin debunks the myths about that she believes that women believe about men who believe about women.
About her. All you need to do is make sure that you groom and that you smell nice, whether you are in a long-term relationship already and you're just trying to get laid, or you are dating. Don't overlook this, and definitely don't make the mistake of thinking that women aren't visually driven. They are. It's just different than men are.
Okay, that's the hopeful, the air of hopefulness. It doesn't matter. You can have a dad bod. It doesn't matter if you're 400 pounds. Just spray on some Old Spice, man. You'll be good. And there's a pheromones again. Oh man, this was fun. This is a fun one. Thank you for giving me this video. I think somebody on Instagram suggested this video for me. So this is ridiculous, patently ridiculous. Okay. Yes. Women absolutely care about the way that a guy looks. Ask any looks maxer right there. That's all they're about. Is it the only thing they care about? No. But is it important? Is it like is it on the list? Yeah. Is it like number one on the list? Probably either one or two, somewhere around there, depending on where that woman is and what how realistic she is about her own sexual market value. Okay. So yeah, how you look and how you present yourself is absolutely imperative. How you dress, how you whatever. I would go so far. In fact, I don't think she's gone far enough. Okay, she wants to say that, well, it's, guys, don't worry so much about how you look. You just got to keep yourself groomed. I realize it has to be a short video because she's trying to monetize like a 15-minute video here. I understand. It's a sales funnel, but it's not just about grooming. It's not just about how you smell. It's about how you look. Okay. It's about how you're built. It's about women's, well, let's see, biological, DNA, evolutionary reasons that's why she likes you. That right there confirms, or actually debunks, myth number 2. Yes, they do, because if they didn't, they'd be getting with, although maybe this is a bad example, they'd be getting with the guy who's the homeless bum on the street. Those guys would be just as preferable as anyone else. We're only 3 myths in, right? And according to Caitlin, it doesn't matter if you got money, doesn't matter because it doesn't matter what you look like, just smell good. Right. And it's certainly alpha seed and beta need, throw those out the window. Well, if by that logic, don't you think that women would be out with any loser, any schmuck that they could get their, hey, you'll do, come here. That should be the case. But statistically, we know that is not the case. I can prove that to you. I've been able to prove that to you since probably about 2012. Statistically, empirically, I have the data. Go look at a book called Dataclism. Hell, go all the way back to 2005 and look up a book called A Billion Wicked Thoughts by Ogvis and Ogbai. Now that data is definitely out of date right now. I don't know if they've updated it just yet. But if you look at Dataclism and you look at the dating profiles, you look at the what is it, 85%. This is just in Quillette not too long ago, and some other, which was also pulled from another data set. I can't remember the data set right now, but 80 to 85% of women find men unattractive. That's a pretty damning stat right there. That pretty much debunks at least those last 2 myths. I can show you those data sets right there, because that's the first thing any incel and any black pill doomer and anybody who's just wants to beat themselves up of the way they look will use. And you know what? You're right. You're right. You're 100% right, black pill guy. Yeah, you don't make the cut. In fact, 80, but stop feeling sorry for yourself, because 85% of the guys that that are probably in the same room with you as you're watching this video right now, they don't make the cut either. So classically, guys have had to find ways to do an end run around the hypergamous filter. And that's really where your frustration and your nihilism is coming from, because you don't know what to do. And yeah, we live in a world right now. She was just what myth one. We make our own damn money. In myth one, she was saying something about like, oh, you know, women make their own money, so they're not so concerned about you making your money. Bullshit. Bullshit. First of all, it's nonsense and it's patently false. And then second of all, it also confirms what I've said about independence. I got run up the flagpole by who was it? Whenever I did whenever I'd say this, or I think I did a YouTube short about this. I cut this out of a Fresh and Fit interview that I had done, and I put it up as like a 59-second clip. And I'd said, you know, when women talk about being a strong, independent woman, what they're saying is strong and independent of men. I said that in no uncertain terms. I said that. I still to this day, I've written about it in several essays. I put it in at least one book that I can think of right now. Like certainly book 3, I put this in there. Women, when they say, I am a strong, independent woman, what that independence means is I'm independent of relying on men. That's what, and she just confirmed that. But when I say that, it's like, no, women just want to be self-sufficient, autonomous, and we want to be this and da 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 da. And it's always, again, eel in the weeds, right? It's anything except for the fact that when Gloria Steinem and whatever militant feminist of the late 60s and early 70s was saying at that time and writing about that time, that strong independent woman, that strong lead role in the action adventure, that independent woman who can take care of her own and everything else. She can't rely on a man and she doesn't want to rely on a man, right? That goes back to one thing. I don't want to be dependent on a man. That's what that comes down to. It's a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Ergo, it means that I don't want to be dependent on a man. And she's just confirming this for you, all of you guys right here. So ladies, feminists who want to give me grief about this kind of stuff, go talk to Gloria Steinem. Go talk to Disney. Go talk to this chick, because that's essentially what the message has been for a long time. And you have no counter argument to that whatsoever. Oh, it's about equality. No, it's not about equality. It's about power and money, just like she was saying before. Essentially, she debunks her own myth. Let me keep going here.
Number 4, women want sex less than men. This myth, more than any other, causes so much damage. Men believe that women want sex less than them, and therefore they approach sex from this like scarcity standpoint, as if they're trying to like weasel it out of her. We gotta wedge it out. They gotta like earn it, get laid,
earn it. Did you catch that one? Earn it. Funny, because from what I've heard from about a bajillion other women is that men are never owed sex, but yet you have to earn it. So is there an implied contract here? Is there a implied transaction that can take place as a result of this? Is that what's being implied here? Because if it is, then that throws issues of consent straight out the window. Modern ideas of consent anyways, right? Well, you're paying for it, right? So there's an implied contract. You earned it, right? I hate this. Well, she's right. Again, this is another one of those myths where she's right, but she's right for the wrong reasons. Yeah, guys do this all the time. I've said this before. This is actually it's in book 1 in my very first book. I say, you know, women. There's a mythology. There used to be. I don't know if it's so popular anymore, but there used to be this common mythology. She's right about that. That women. It's the reverse of this. Actually, it's women want sex more than men. Or women want sex just as much as men. Or women enjoy, and I love this one because this is subjective. Women enjoy sex just as much, if not more than men. No, they don't. That is a biological impossibility. Now, enjoyment, that's subjective. So anybody can enjoy, like that's your perception of whatever it is that when you have sex, right? Okay, great. That's experiential. That's relative to the person that is experiencing sex. Okay, so you can't really quantify or qualify enjoyment of sex. What we can do is say, what do women want and what do men want when it comes to sex? Men, actually, any mammal that is male that has a higher testosterone, serum testosterone content than the female, that prompts that male of whatever species, human or otherwise, to want sex more than than females do. Okay, men tend to be males, male mammals, male primates, male wolves, male whatever, higher order mammals. The males of that particular species tend to be the ones to perform and the ones to seek out sex. The females of that species tend to be the ones that select, that say this will be the one that I want to get with, and this won't be the one unless the issue is forced, and we know where that goes. So that's number one. First off, any sex of any species, the one that has the most testosterone, serum testosterone, is usually the one that wants sex the most. Okay. Now, can we prove the reverse? Yes, we can. We can prove it in hyenas. Hyena females tend to be much bigger, much larger, and possess much more testosterone than the males do. They tend to be much smaller. And so therefore those female hyenas, because of that, seek out sex with the male hyenas more. So when a woman says, I'm an alpha female, think hyena, because that's really essentially what she's saying. They're not alpha females, they're hyenas. They're female hyenas is what they are. So there's your there's your trials of life analysis for the day. So Nick J, thanks for that $20, but if that was a sticker, I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. Well, let me backtrack here real quick. Modern women think they have no instincts and are thus ruled by them more than men. Yes, they do, because Kyle. Yes, that's true. Women tend to be more oblivious to their innate natures. And also, I should say this, Kyle, is that when I can't hear that name without hearing South Park. Sorry. But when they are presented with the fact that they are oblivious to them, that's when you get to the point of diminishing returns, because it feels bad. They don't want to be told they're playing a game. They just want to play the game. So the most effective game that you can run is the one where you're not giving away the game. That's why when guys in like we're talking about, the sociosexual hierarchies, alpha, beta, delta, gamma, omega, gammas tend to be the ones who give away the game the most. Women don't want to be told that they're playing a game. They want you to just get it, and they want you to play the game with them, but play better, and to know it, to just get it, to be a good player of the game, right? So, and I missed somebody else. I'll go back over. I think Sam's recording all of the supers for me, so I will get back to those. So number one, and this is where she's patently wrong about this, is that women do not want sex as much as men. And I don't know if that's actually the case that she's making, but that is a myth. Is that, well, women want sex, or they would want sex more if it wasn't for this evil patriarchal repression of their sexualities. Go on any OnlyFans channel and tell me, do you think that chick is sexually repressed? Go to any slut walk and tell me, do you think that those girls seem like they're sexually repressed? Watch any girl on Fresh and Fit tonight, probably at, I don't know, 11 p.m. Eastern, right? Go and tell me that you think that those girls are in any way sexually repressed. And even if you could make that case, are they now more sexually repressed or just as sexually repressed as they were, I don't know, 1980, 1970, 1960, 1950? No, they are not sexually repressed. Women today in Western cultures, and even in Westernizing cultures, are far, thanks to the global sexual marketplace, thanks to our good friend, the social media and the cell phone, can do damn near anything. And so, and there, again, no judgment, right? No shame. And so therefore, to say that women are still in any way so repressed that they can't be themselves and they can't be as sexual as they want to be is ludicrous. And it has been ludicrous for at least the last 3 generations. You might have been able to make a case for the boomers back in when the free love generation. Even then, really, they weren't sexually repressed at Woodstock, running around naked and, taking brown acid and banging in the camps, right? So where's this repression? Where's all this? Well, we would be just as sexual if you guys would just let us be. We're like, yeah, go ahead. We'll even pay you for it. We'll be your pay pigs and your simps. Please be more sexual. It's ridiculous. It's old order thinking is what it is. It's an old order way of like justifying what women are feeling at this particular time. So to say that women are repressed and they could be just as sexual as guys because of that repression, you don't get that anymore, ladies. Sorry. In fact, you shouldn't have been getting that since right around the mid 90s, if then, right? So that's ridiculous. Throw that one out the window. Now, why do I say that it is biologically impossible for a woman to want sex as much as a man? Well, I shouldn't say that that's entirely true, because you could take anabolic steroids, ladies, and then you might have an inkling of what it's like to want sex as much as a guy does 24/7. Okay. Okay. So why do I say that? First off, it's testosterone is number one. Okay. Men possess anywhere between, and these are the real numbers, but anywhere between 12 and 17 times the amount of serum testosterone that a woman does, depending on age, of course, and health of that person. So testosterone already men win the game. They win the sex game. That's why there's strip clubs, right? There's no male strip club, no 24-hour male strip clubs. You'll find male reviews for divorcees, for 40-plus-year-old women. Occasionally, you'll find Thunder Down Under. I know, because I promoted those shows. Or you'll find a Chippendales thing, right? And it's usually, women of a certain demographic go to those. And they, if you're lucky, in the state of Nevada, you might be able to watch the Chippendales thing, or you have to go someplace special to get that. But that's the outlier, right? That's the exception to the rule. The rule is this: strip clubs are everywhere, and there's a reason for that, and they've been there for a long time. So you will find strip clubs in Anchorage, Alaska. You will find strip clubs probably in Mongolia somewhere. I don't know. Somebody show me a strip club in Mongolia. Actually, don't. But why is pornography such a big deal for guys and not as big a deal for women? That's why men's sexual strategy is as an extension of our biology that she wanted to deny just 2 myths ago, right? So that's number one. Number two is women's sexuality is cyclical. All right. So women tend to be more horny, for lack of a better term, right around the proliferative phase of their menstrual cycle, because that's the precursor. That's what's setting them up for ovulation. They need the right guy in the right place at the right time. And usually that's like right about between 2 and 4 days before she ovulates. Ovulatory shift. I've done at least 2 different episodes on that. That's why I say that. It is a physical impossibility for women to want sex as much as guys, unless they're shooting, I don't know, tren, decabolin, I don't know, whatever the kids are shooting in their arms these days. What do you have to say, good mother? Good mother, by the way, I've lurked on some of your very sparsely viewed podcasts. They go for quite a while, but continue. She says, thanks for hammering out on the tyrannical matriarchy. Is it really matriarchy? No, it's matrilocal for sure. The feminists lack accountability, responsibility, and respect. They are weak, lying hypocrites these universities have created. Oh boy, we should dig into that at some point, the university thing. Let me see. I'm going to back up a little bit more here. Okay, good mother, I got to you, and Nick, I got to you. Okay, let us continue.
Laid, as if laid was something that you could go get, that you had to go get. Listen, women love sex. I think.
If you need to get laid, you can come see me. Come to. If you're in the United States, come to Reno, Nevada, and it will only take you an hour to drive to where you will. I guarantee 100% you will get laid.
If you look at any lyrics to any of the last 5 years of hip hop, rap, and pop music from female artists, there's been a reclamation of sex. College campuses, sex. Women enjoy sex. We are the ones that were gifted with the multiple orgasm. Now, men, you also can multiple orgasm, but that's a different video. We can multiple orgasm. If you can please a woman, she will enjoy sex. 9
Qualify.
9 times out of 10, the only reason that she doesn't is got something to do with shame and concerns about being labeled a slut. Again, different video.
No woman has concerns about being labeled a slut today. I feel pretty confident in saying that. Okay. Now, why is that? Why do I say that? Again, it goes back to those same reasons. All right. Maybe in some cases, maybe depending on where you're from and what the context is. But for the most part, most women are not worried about being called slut, and certainly not from guys. They may be from other girls, because that's how women fight, right? Remember, women fight in the psychological, men fight in the physical. So now, for a woman to be considered a loose woman, men are, she just said, hey, leave your judgment at the door. Yeah, that's what most guys do. I would never think of you as a slut. I don't care how many guys have you been with? 20? I would never think of you as a slut. You're just discovering yourself. You're just finding yourself. In fact, rather than saying don't be judgmental, guys, what women are really saying is don't have any standards, but also throw everything about every instinct, every gut feeling you have that comes from, wanting to not date single mothers or not get with a woman who, the town bicycle, right? They take all that and throw that out the window. It's not good enough to be non-judgmental. You have to also be accepting of the fact that she's probably going to be run through by the time you get there. That's what in a gynocentric social order. Think about why that is. Why would that be a thing? Why would it be a thing that women would I said that I should do another follow-up on this, but I did an episode. I'll link this at the end, actually. I did an episode where I was talking about why it's important for men to be concerned with women's partner count. Now, usually when you hear this from guys who are, let's just say, less involved or less detailed than Rollo TOMASSI is, it's usually something like, well, there's a higher instance of divorce. They'll go through the stats, okay? Yes, then that's good. But if for nothing else, that should be a reason. But there's still that gut instinct, right? There's still that innate reason why it is that guys have a feeling of revulsion, whether it's physical or not. It's meant certainly psychological revulsion from a woman who is loose, right? There's nothing. Most guys, it's easy to get past that, because if it's, do I decide to err on the side of discernment and judgment and not get with a loose chick, or do I get laid? Yeah. Which impulse do you think pulls men more strongly, right? Usually it's the physical side. Well, she's a skank, but boy, she's my skank, right? That's what most guys want. Most men want a slut. They do. I know that's going to sound really radical to you. Most men want if anything, all men want a slut. They just want her to be his slut. That's part of one of my books, actually. It's a quote from my book. Men want a slut. They just want her to be his slut. They want her to do anything with him. They want a ride or die girl, right? They want a girl who has genuine desire, and the main part of that genuine desire is public sex, right? Or like she wants you so much that she'll change her religion to have sex with you. That, whatever. I want a slut, but I want her to be my slut. I want her to be a loyal slut. I want to be a slut, a hooker with a heart of gold. That's what I want, right? And she's loyal to you, but she's Jenna Jameson in the bed sheets, or I'm dating myself. She's Brandy Levin. I'm dating myself. She's Sarah J. Oh no, wait, I'm dating myself. She's a porn star in the bed sheets, and she's a good mother to your kids. It's a Madonna whore complex, right? Or the complex. It's the paradox, let's say, because for women, it's the same thing too. Women have a Madonna whore thing going on as well. They want the guy who's they want this guy right here. They want the hot guy in the foam cannon party. They want this dude right here. But they also want him to be a good dad. They also want him to read to the kids when they're small. It's the same thing. It's the paradox of trying to find the balance of the perfect sexual partner and the perfect person who will be a good father or a good mother to your children. Got it. Understood. But the way that we achieve that, or the way we come around to that, is different depending on what the sex is, what the gender, gender, sex, whatever you want, the sex and gender. I'm going to start using gender in the binary. Sorry, not sorry. So yeah, let's move on. I digress again, but what she's talking about here, let me continue this. Here we go.
Women enjoy sex as much as you. Ooh.
No.
Relatedly, number 5.
Okay, so before we get to 5, end of story. Women do not. Okay, enjoyment is subjective, and this is what women do, especially dating coaches, deliberately do. She wants sex just as much as you. Yeah, if you're not a fat ass, if you make some money, if you live up to your burden of performance, if you're a high value man. Remember, if you're emotionally available, if you're vulnerable, if you're steady, if you're what other thing? If you love your mom, if you like puppy dogs, if you want to go to Disneyland, then yeah, that's the enjoyment. Yeah, she enjoys it just as much as you. Just add that to the list.
But women don't like casual sex. This myth persists despite all of the evidence against.
What man? What man doesn't? What man believes that right now? What man has believed that women don't like casual sex since, I don't know, key parties in the 1970s? I mean, what? It's Studio 54. What guy? I mean, really, even Woodstock. We can go all the way back to like the boomers when they were 18. What man, since the sexual revolution, falls prey to this myth? I would like to know. Somebody tell me.
This myth persists despite all of the evidence against it. See number 4 on this list. If you can please a woman, she will enjoy sex. Number 6, women who...
Just your reminder that you still need to qualify. It's not about your pleasure or her qualifying it. Do you suck a mean dick? No. Well, sorry. That's my discernment, right? That's me being judgmental.
Who've had multiple partners or have had children get loose, and the sex with them is less satisfying.
Boy, be fun.
This myth sucks. The vagina and the vulva are 2 of the most elastic places.
Okay. Stop. Full stop. Put everything. Stop. I can't talk about this myth without like losing my shit, without laughing at this. Okay. I understand why this is, and I understand why women get bent out of shape. This is not about what you think it is. I'm going to let you, okay. It's the myth of the roasties, right? I know what a roastie is. Thank you very much. You guys have made it exceedingly clear what a roastie is. I know it. I got it. Thanks. I don't need the pictures. We can move on. All right. I know what you mean. Roast beef, right? She gets loose. What is it? You throw the weenie down the hall. Yeah. Okay. Bravo. Golf clap for you. Very funny, right? There's even, what's funny is like that joke has been around for forever. If you go and you watch, I forget what year it was. I think it was 88. You go watch the first Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're joking around and the helicopters are flying in on those Hueys, right? And that guy makes that joke and he says, hey, I told my girl I wanted a little pussy. And he says, why did you say it twice? He says, well, that was the echo. Get it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. That was that joke. Same thing. Roasties. It stretches. It's open. It's looser than remember, men want women. Men want women that are younger, hotter, and tighter. That's part of those 3, right? They want that younger height, they want that firm breast, and they want that firm ass, and they want the tightest of the tight, right? And she's gonna say this. So this whole myth right here is not about tightness. This myth, or the reason why she's even addressing this right here. Sorry, I knocked this thing out of focus. It's really easy to mess with this prime lens. The reason she's talking about this is actually an insecurity that women have, which is the older they get, the less desirable they become. And so to put a medical term on it, to put well, you get loose when you get old, right? Or you get loose when you get banged out, or you get run through. So it could be a combination of the both. It could be, well, you're old and so you're a roastie. Or it could be, well, you all throughout college, you had trains ran on you, and you're a roastie. That's what it is. It's just a joke. This is not even, how is this even a myth? This is just thrown in there for entertainment value. But again,
in the human body, they can bounce back, they can change. There are pelvic floor exercises, aka Kegels, that can tighten and firm a pelvic floor. Don't even get me started. This is a hurtful myth, and it also ties into this myth that women who have had multiple sex partners are sluts or dirty. Listen, if you want women to have great sex with you, stop labeling them as dirty or as sluts or as unwanted. You don't have to have sex with those women if you.
Okay, so let's halt that right there. Again, comes back to the myth of the myth. We're going to debunk a myth with another myth. It goes back to the myth of like guys calling women sluts. There are very few guys, particularly in the last 2 generations, who would ever even wouldn't even enter their thought process. The concept is alien to call a woman a slut, unless that guy is in the top 20% of guys who's getting after it pretty regularly. Like he's in that top 20% of guys that women want to bang anyways, and they don't care if they call you a slut. In fact, they're happy to be called a slut, especially if it's in the middle of sex and it's hot and it's porn star quality. That's why. So that's really the only time most men have ever called, at least in my recent memory of, here we go, right? My experience, right? Men don't call women sluts. Women call other women sluts. That is intra-sexual combat that women use with each other. Again, women fight in the psychological. They fight back here. Men fight in the physical. We fight out here. So in the psychological sense, if that woman can disqualify another woman by saying she's a slut, she's a skank, she's loose, she's a roasty, whatever you want to call her, right? Everybody's going to get, oh, he knows what roasty is. If you can do that, you can disqualify that woman from the sexual marketplace. Whether that's true or not is irrelevant, because it's like psyops. Okay, it's gaslighting that girl. When a woman calls another woman a slut, or she tries to in some way insinuate or implicate her as being like untrustworthy or not worthy of a man's reproductive investment, which is really what that is. That's the form of combat. And what she's doing, she's trying to disqualify another woman from the consideration of other guys. So when a hot chick comes into this club and she walks past a group of other girls, and the girl is walking past, she's got hoop earrings on and she's in a tight dress. She looks good. She physically outclasses all the women in that one little sort of subgroup, that other peer clutch that's in the club right there. The first thing those women will go, oh, only a slut would do that. Only what did she skank? Did you see that look she gave me? Blah, 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 blah. The catty shit that women do. Okay. Gossip. There's a reason why gossip, quote unquote, gossip is a sin in most moral senses, because that's pretty much the only thing we can really get women on is gossip. But that's judgmentalism, isn't it? We're supposed to leave our judgments at the door. We're supposed to love every, hey, if you want a good sex partner, you have to be less judgmental and less discerning, right? Okay, that's neither here nor there, but so you've got these women, the first thing out of their mouths is she must be a slut. What that is intrasexual combat. They are disqualifying her, at least amongst themselves anyways, from the sexual marketplace. It's also the same thing like when ladies, I notice there's at least a couple of them in the chat right now. Ladies, when your girlfriends say, oh, you look great, girl, and you're in a bikini and you are very clearly physically fat, those women, that's psychological warfare. Because if you look a little bit fatter than them, or just even around the same size, they're going to encourage you to stay that same size. Think about what the incentives are for that. Same thing with slut shaming. Slut shaming is a female thing, not a male thing. So that's not a myth that men need to sort of get out of their heads. In fact, the thing is if anything, you need to be more discerning about that. Because in a gynocentric social order, men are encouraged not to look at women, to be judgmental. She started the damn video about that. Leave your judgment at the door, right? Oh, okay. How dare you? You men, shame on you. No, it's mostly women who are slut shaming, first of all. And then second of all, guys we need to be more discerning. You need to look for red flags. You need to look for those things, because statistically speaking, that woman's not going to be able to pair bond with you. We know that. We have the data sets now, Caitlin. We know what's going on. We have the internet. We have instant access to it. Lay people can dig up that information all they want, and they are doing that right now. But what they're not doing is they're not piecing it together. They got the data, but they're not connecting the dots. And I think men need to be more discerning. They need to be more judgmental, because those guys who get into those, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. I don't care if you had those wild, crazy college days or college years. She's pining for, she's an alpha widow. She's pining for, we want to think that women can sort of, she said this herself, want to lift up themselves above their innate proclivities, their innate evolved biology. She wanted to disqualify that in myth 3. And so when we're trying to disqualify that, great, but it's like fine for me, but not for thee, right? And so we're gonna tar men with this idea that they're the ones that are doing the slut shaming, when in fact it's usually women who are doing the slut shaming. But when guys even have reservations or hesitations about getting with a woman who's a quote unquote roasty, right? Then you're a bad person. Don't get with a single mom. Well, why would you do that? You'd ruin a great marriage, or you'll throw the baby out with the bathwater, because you won't raise another man's child. No, what I won't do is I won't optimize and complete and fulfill that woman's sexual strategy, because it's not in my best interests. What about me? What about my needs, right? My needs are this. I need a woman who I can trust to have my kid. And that's usually what it comes down to. And that's not a moral or an ethical thing. That's a biological thing. That's an evolutionary thing. Because and this is not just for human beings. Again, this is for any higher order mammal. It is in men's best interests to ascertain paternity. And that's where that warfare comes down to. Women know on an instinctive level that men ultimately, in the long term, provide security, provide resources, provide parental investment, protection, and everything else that comes along with the beta buck side of hypergamy for one trade-off. The damn kid has to be his kid. That's what it is. And in a gynocentric social order where women want to have sexual selectivity amongst unlimited, evergreen sexuality and evergreen desirability, in that world, that can't coexist with men's innate need to know paternity. That's why we make single father. Well, that's why we make stepfathers noble knights in shining armor. That's why. That's why we go, well, what's the big deal? Well, you should want to, well, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You should you should get with, single mommies. No, I shouldn't, because obviously she has shown in the past that she's had bad judgment about men, and I don't want to be associated with that. Guess what? I'm about me. Mental point of origin. I choose my choice. No, done. That's my choice. Right? You need to ladies, men have very, very, very low discernment. Even the ones who want to believe that they are very exacting and have these standards. Even those guys who will claim to have standards, it's still they're much lower than your own standards. Okay, they're way lower than your standards. But those one standards are very important. The few standards that the majority of men actually have, they're very, very important standards. Like the baby has to be my goddamn kid. That's a standard. Okay. And I don't think it's too much to ask, but they know this. And apparently it is too much to ask, because we have to gaslight or create social conventions that gaslight men into believing that because they think this way, that they're bad people. Because they can't be emotional and vulnerable and all this other crap, all that other stuff, that you're a bad guy, you're a bad person, you're a bad man, because you don't line up, you don't align yourself with the correct way of thinking, and the correct way of thinking is qualify to her. That's what it is.
You want to have sex with someone who's never had sex with someone else, good on you. No judgment from me. But don't label women in hurtful ways. It does no one any good.
Okay, so let me just finish out this real quick. Don't label them. What's that label? Roasty. Like the roast beef labia. Yeah, got it. What she's worried about and what she's trying to do, that's this myth, myth 6 anyways, is a social convention myth. And that is that women who are older, women who are ran through, it should. Okay, so what that myth is saying is promoting the idea that it shouldn't matter how old she is. It shouldn't matter if she's a single mother. It shouldn't matter that she's had one sexual partner before you or 100 before you. You don't be judgmental. Right? Well, if you want to find a girl who's like an untouched, unblemished virgin, that's okay. No judgment from me. But don't call other girls who are not like that a roasty. That's pretty much what it is, because guys joke around and say, well, the more run through she is, the looser she is. Right? Well, that's why they call her loose. Ta-da! That's how that works. That's where that comes from. Oh, she's a loose woman. Yeah, she's very loose. Well, how did she get loose? Well, she had lots of lovers that made her loose. Yes. Is that an urban myth? Yeah, sure it is. It's silly. It's stupid, but that's not what it's about. And the reason why she gets upset about it, and women in general get upset about it, is because it reminds them of the fact that they are no longer younger, hotter, tighter. That's why women wear makeup until they're 80 plus years old. They still want to look younger. Cosmetic industry is not a multi-bajillion dollar juggernaut, corporate juggernaut, because women want to look older. They all want to look younger unanimously. Well, there might be one that doesn't. Well, okay. Congratulations. There's your exception to the rule. We have to remember, we said we were going to account for that in the beginning. Hey, thank you for that $100, PP. Look, I touched your PP. Thanks for that $100, my friend. Was that hold on a second. Did he have a question? No, I guess he didn't. Well, thanks for that $100 contribution, my friend. Very, very generous of you. I appreciate you. I will get back to these. We're at 7. We're almost done. Okay, let's keep going. Anyways, the roasty thing is, it's a reminder that women's sexual agency is not evergreen. So when it comes to power, remember we're talking about power and money and everything else, that women's primary agency, their primary power in this life is derived from the sexuality. That's why this is a hurtful one, right? Yeah, because it's a reminder that you're going to be powerless. Men are not going to want you as much when you are older and looser and a roasty later on in life than you are when you are younger, hotter, tighter, when you are 20. Again, they call the store Forever 21, not Forever 41. There's a reason for that. I know that's a funny joke. I keep saying that all the time, but it's true.
7, women can get addicted to their vibrators.
Oh boy.
A lot of men are threatened, and I get it, by women's sex toys. I mean, come on, they come in every shape and size. They never, ever, ever go soft, and they're available whenever and however she wants. And there's a persistent myth that the use of a vibrator to bring about an orgasm can become addictive, or can numb out her clitoris, or can prevent her from having orgasms through sex with you. This is not true. That said, there are women who get used to and do rely on a vibrator in order to have a clitoral orgasm, as compared to maybe like using their hands or using a running water or a jet in the bathtub or whatever. The truth is that a lot of women can't experience orgasm any other way than clitorally, and there is no shame and there's nothing wrong with them needing a vibrator in order to get off. If that is distressing to her, I
wonder what you'd say about fleshlights. Would there be shame or anything about that? What about like sex dolls? Because apparently those are still pretty popular in certain circles. I wonder if that would be inspirational of shame.
are things that she can do to break her reliance on the vibrator, but it is certainly not a bad thing. I think more orgasms are a better thing, no matter how you go about getting them, as long as it's consensual and you're an adult and the other person is an adult and you get the picture. Orgasms are better, good thing. Number 8, women need deep power.
Okay, well, that's going to be a real fun one. Now she's getting a little visceral here. So let's go back to that other one. As far as the vibrator thing is concerned, again, self-pleasure for women is I'm saying that, I try, there's no nice way to say this. Okay, so I'm just going to come out with it. The self-pleasure for women is always empowering, because we go back to that same thing where women have been repressed for so long. So now they need vibrators, because we can't rely on those unreliable men to, what was that? Lick pussy. Because that's part of the requirements. We can't rely on those guys. So therefore, one of the things that I have talked about in the past, and I'll just bring it up right now, just to give you some food for thought here, is when it comes to using toys to sort of pleasure oneself, there's shame involved for male masturbation, but there's never shame involved for female masturbation. Never. In fact, women masturbating is a niche of porn. Like you can go find it right now, right, on your cell phone. But that's a niche of porn. That's a fetish. For men, not so much, unless you're homosexual, right? But it's for men, not so much, right? They don't want to see another guy like jerking off. They want to imagine themselves, at least in pornography, they want to imagine themselves as the guy that's rooting that girl out, okay? More or less. They don't want to see other guys the other guy's self doing it, because they know they do it themselves and they know what it looks like. It's nothing that they want to get into. But for men, masturbation is always shameful, and idealistically, anyways, it implies failure. It means you weren't man enough to actually get with a chick, and so therefore you're wasting the seed, right? Or you're forced to pleasure yourself. For women, it is empowering. There's far more vibrators, let's just say, for lack of a better term, but let's just say sex toys for women. The sales for sex toys to women far exceeds the sales of sex toys for men. Let's just say, because for men it is what it is. But for women, we want to make it a point of empowerment. In fact, even if you go back to like the 70s and even like the early 80s, women masturbating was something that they wanted to sort of drag out into the light, and say, oh, it's good. And then so later on, they were making jokes about it on Friends in the mid 90s, right? The show Friends, sitcom Friends in the mid 90s. They're joking about porn too. But it's all about like, oh, I got to get my little buzzer friend, right? Or it's a bit, it's a comedy bit in a romantic comedy or something like that. And so we drag it out in the open, but we don't have even anything remotely like the shame that men are taught from a very early age to not, snap the radish. And, you'll go blind, Johnny, don't touch it, because generally what that is it is a symbol of a symbol. It is an act of failure for a guy, whereas for women, it's become more empowering. Now we can talk until you're blue in the face about what masturbation should mean to guys, but in this case, I want to talk about it, what it implies to women. Okay, so can women become habituated to a vibrator? Absolutely, they can. But are those the women you want to get with in the first place? I don't know. So I honestly don't think that that's even a myth that needs to even be addressed. Well, she just uses her vibrator, so therefore she's ruined. Well, it's the same thing as saying like, well, that guy is habituated to pornography and therefore he's ruined. We're ready to say, well, that guy's addicted to porn and make it a shameful thing. But for a woman to more or less become habituated to the feeling of a vibrator against her clit, like that right there, that's something that is a myth, and it's something that we should all, get out of our heads, because clearly we won't get laid, right? Remember in the beginning, she said, if you don't unlearn these, you're never going to get laid. Well, why is it? This is my connection. So this is food for thought here. This is kind of like a nowhere myth for me, but why is it? First of all, why is it shameful for men and not for a woman? That's easy. That's an easy one. But the second one is when we talk about how guys can become addicted, or let's just say habituated to watching porn and jerking off all the time. We joke about that constantly in the we'll probably talk about it in November when No Fap November rolls around. So hold your questions until then. But why is it that we are so ready to make men the bad guys for jerking off to porn when we're not supposed to believe that a woman could get habituated to her vibrator? Well, because we're supposed to let women off the hook. We're supposed to give them more grace. We're supposed to give them more permit. We're supposed to not repress their sexuality, right? Well, the fact of the matter is that women can be habituated to their vibrator, just as men can be habituated to pornography, and it affects their sexual performance for both sexes. But only one sex do we shame, and one sex do we go, don't be so judgmental, unlearn this myth. That's what I'm getting at.
Pounding and deep penetration from a big dick to have a great orgasm. This is not true. Now, there are certain orgasms that can only be triggered by a deep pounding. The area around the cervix, the A spot and the female P spot, aka the anterior and posterior fornix. What is the plural of fornixes? I doubt it. Fornices? Those do require deep penetration, and rhythmic and deep pounding is the best way to stimulate a cervical orgasm and those two little sensitive areas. But that said, a G-spot orgasm combined with a clitoral orgasm can basically knock anyone out of the park if delivered properly, and deep thrusting and pounding and deep cervical orgasms are not necessary for great sex. They're more of a nice to have than a need to have. Number 9.
All right, boy, that's going to be, what we ought to do? If you're watching this right now, and you're also a fan of, like, say, Fresh and Fit or something. It doesn't have to be that. It could be, if you've got one of any of these shows right now, they're bringing girls on, go into the chat room and like you do a super chat. I guess it doesn't have to be too much. You can do a super chat and say, does size matter, ladies? And see how many of those girls respond. You don't even need to do a super chat. I don't think. I think you could just say, hey, does it matter if the guy's got a big dick or not? Because a big dick is a sign of virility. Let's just be honest here. I've written several articles about, the size of the tool. The size matters, right? That is the size of the tool. Especially now that women are prioritizing alpha seed above beta need. Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it. You need to have a big tool. Go ask Sterling Cooper. Sterling Cooper makes a good living off of talking about how to extend your, what the hell is that thing called? Jelking or JEI. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. But there's always been a big market for big dicks, right? In pornography, you don't want to see little, unless that's your thing. I don't know, you want to see little dicks. Like women want to see big dicks, and that's just how it is because women have a preference for it. Any woman that says that size doesn't matter is full of shit. Okay, they want that deep penetration no matter what. They want to have their world rocked no matter what. If that was the case, and most men would, you want to know why a lot of guys, and I hate to be so visceral about this, but there's no easy way to talk about this because she's the one that brought this up. I think that if there's anything that's damaging about that myth, it's the myth that it shouldn't matter. Oh, it's what is it? It's the magic of the magician, not the length of the wand. No, women want big dicks. Simple as that. They do. And to the point where women will dump a guy, even if he's a good looking dude, but has a little dick, she'll get with a guy who's not as good looking as that guy is, like physically, but he's packing, right? And there's a lot of biological, a lot of evolutionary reasons why a bigger dick is attractive to women, arousing to women rather than a small dick. Because there is if nothing else, I mean, you can make you can do any kind of rationalization you want to, but if nothing else, there is the perception of better sexual satisfaction with a bigger dick than a smaller dick. Simple as that. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to say. And if you've ever eavesdropped on a group of young women who are talking about a particular guy or talking about men in general, you will hear them say the truth. In fact, right now in the age of open hypergamy, I don't think that this is still even a secret right now. So if there's a myth about just size, man, it doesn't matter how big your dick. Like, man, isn't this fucking great? Isn't this great? Because now it doesn't matter if you've got money, it doesn't matter what you look like. All you got to do is put on a little bit of deodorant and maybe a spritz of Old Spice on you. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if women are. Why aren't people just in this one big giant orgy right now? Why is it that women don't just say, you know what? Why isn't it like the heterosexual equivalent of a gay bathhouse? Why isn't the world just like that? Because apparently it should be. And we're all hung up on looks and we need to evolve above that. We're all about the idealistic stuff. Apparently, the only requirements for men are vulnerability, emotionality, being steady, and whatever else. Right? Those are the only real prerequisites, according to Caitlin here. Boy, man, it sounds like really good news. This sounds like some fabulous news, man. Awesome. And it doesn't matter if I've got like a 3-inch cock, right? It doesn't matter. I might not be able to give you a P orgasm or this orgasm or whatever, because as long as I can stick to the clip. Well, how great is that? I know how to lick pussy. Awesome. It doesn't matter how it's absolutely patently ridiculous. But this is her sales funnel. This is the thing. And it's fascinating to me that again, we're not supposed to be judgmental. We're not supposed to be discerning or anything like that. But if this were the case, if this were idealistically, if we could base a human society, human sexuality was based on these 10 myths here, how do we not have a fertility rate that's 3 times the average?
9, they make up claims of rape and assault. According to research out of the University of Massachusetts, between 2 and 10% of rape accusations made over the last 20 years may have been falsified.
Right. Hold it. May have been falsified. See, this is the trick. And this is something that I see this happen. What was it? That redhead girl that was on, in fact, I think I might even do a quick breakdown of that video, but that redhead girl that was on Myron's show last week, who tried to she was like kind of a ringer, right? She got on there and she started trying, well, you guys are misogynists. So she wanted to build her brand by being the one to put it in Myron's face, and Myron wasn't having it too. By the way, I think Myron and Fresh actually handled that situation very well, but this is very similar to that thing. Well, the data says that, between 2% of 0 and 2% of rape claims are false, right? Okay. Notice how she words this. First of all, may, okay. We don't know. May have been. Okay. So when you listen to rape accusations, or when you listen to, and I hate to even use the term, okay, forced copulation accusations here. She's the one saying it, not me. when it comes down to this kind of stuff, we really want to massage the numbers always, because we can say, well, that means that, oh, and she's actually, let me just continue because she'll say it here a second.
That means 90 to 98% of all claims of rape and sexual assault were valid. And
No, it doesn't. That is statistically inaccurate because we don't know. Even you said that. She even said that prior. Well, 90 to 98% are valid. Valid what? By what criteria? By holding your gaze too long, like by saying something that made you uncomfortable, by going back in time because there's no statutes of limitations in most states for that. I gave him consent, but now I'm not. I'm retroactively removing it. Is that claim valid? Because we need to really, when it comes down to this, when it comes down to like ruining a man's life from even just the suspicions, doesn't have to be accusations. It could be suspicions. In the age of social media, those are some very serious allegations. That's some very serious topic. Because today, when it comes to sexual assault, when it comes to forced sexual copulation, when you know what I'm talking about, when it comes to those things, that's a man's life and a man's livelihood. And that's a guy who could have been a star quarterback in the NFL, but because he had those allegations, therefore he gets dropped out of college. They don't want him on the team. And it's not even if he is proven 100% innocent, like not even like no contest. We're talking innocent. He's done. He will never play in the NFL. He will never go back to that particular school. He's already been evicted. Or ejected, right? He's been excommunicated from society. Better find something else to do, brother, because it's over for you. That's why this is serious. That's why we need this level of accuracy. That's why we need to speak in terms about forced sexual copulation, in ways that are that leave no room for error, no uncertain terms. And that's an uncertain term right there, especially in this little cutesy little video from a girl in a Skrillex haircut, right? Okay. What constitutes that? What constitutes the quote unquote GRAPE? What is that? Are we going to say it's retroactive? Is it me too? Is it he looked at me the wrong way? What does it come down to? Is it always forced? Is it something else? Is it a consent thing? Because right now, consent for a long time. I shouldn't say right now. It's really since 2010, at the very least, consent has been something that has been conflated with forced sexual copulation or sexual assault or sexual harassment or making me feel uncomfortable, right? So you have to be very accurate about those things. That does not mean that 90 to 98% of those claims are valid, because we can't know for sure. But she's pretending like we know for sure, and that's where the danger is.
And remember that more than 60% of all rapes and sexual assaults are not reported.
How do we know that if they're not reported? How do we come to those statistics if they are never reported?
Put this in here because there's this really persistent myth that women are dangerous because all they have to do is accuse you of rape or assault, and then they can like somehow walk away scot-free or get a big payday or put you behind bars or whatever. I think that this stems from a basic sense of fear and maybe just mistrust about women in general. Yes, people lie, people do crappy stuff. But if you're using this as an excuse or a reason not to go out and date or get laid, then my friend, you are simply making an excuse. This is not.
Okay, so this is not about forced sexual copulation. This is about making excuses for not going out and actually getting yourself into the sexual marketplace as a result of being overcautious, wanting to dodge a bullet that you can easily dodge by just simply not going and being there, right? And we talk about this all the time. A lot of guys, and I understand, again, she's right, but for the wrong reasons. So when the red pill talks about this and they say, like, I've fielded this question dozens and dozens of times. Well, Rollo, I don't want to go out there, man. I'll get me too. Or remember, right? I think it was right around 2017, 2018. Even Ariana Huffington from the Huffington Post started writing these articles about how men were fearful, threatened, terrorized in the workplace, terrified. Excuse me, in the workplace. Today's coffee, Devil Mountain coffee. Terrorized in the workplace. What is it? Powerful men hide behind open doors now because they don't want to be accused of sexual harassment. They don't want to be they don't want to have even the suspicion that no, not even allegations, just a suspicion that they might be that way, because it will ruin their life, ruin their career, ruin their business, ruin everything that they can invest themselves into. So I don't think that, certainly not grifters like this, don't really realize where that it's not terror, it's not fear, it's caution. Why can't we simply just call it what it is? I'm fearful. Okay, no, it is caution. And it's understandable caution. I get it. Because especially if you are a quote unquote high value man that women want to get with, you're in that 20% and you are high value for a reason. You're good looking. You've got your shit together. You went to college. You're intelligent. You're smart. You have everything on that bullet point checklist, right? You're vulnerable. You're emotional, right? You have all that good stuff. And you've got the receipts to prove it, right? You got your own business. You're made partner in the law firm. You have kids. You have a loving wife already. You have, whatever. You're a high quality guy. All of that disappears with just the suspicion that you looked at a woman a beat longer than you should have. And that is not on men, ladies. That is on you. That is on a gynocentric social order that has weaponized a thing like Me Too. That's why. It's not about fear. It's not about terror. It's about concern. It's about protection. So when guys say, well, I don't want to go out and I don't want to go and get laid because, or I don't want to go and learn game because if I do, then I'll just get accused of sexual harassment. Do you have that much to lose? First off. And then second of all, it's like, you've got, at some point you have to make a cost to risk analysis benefit. Now I got asked a minute ago and I saw it slip past. There was somebody put a super chat in there talking about like spinning plates versus like Cappy says he would never spin plates again. Well, yeah, Cappy's 56, right? 56. No, he's not. He's 46. Sorry, Cappy, you're not 56. He's going to kill me. He's 46, 47. You're in your late 40s. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Why? Okay. There's sort of like an investment cost thing. I was like, do I really want to do that? I know what the game is. I don't really want to play it. Okay, fine. At least he can say he played the game before. He knows what he's experienced it and he can go about his business and do whatever. I'm on the other hand, I say, yeah, go out and do so. And I agree with her in the sense that I don't think a guy should be fearful to go out and approach and to be fearful to go out and make the most of himself. And as a result of making the most of himself, he becomes more attractive. Women become more attracted to him. And as a result, he says, hey, a byproduct of his, really, right? We're supposed to focus on our, chase excellence. Okay. Once you've got a little bit of excellence, is it then okay to look at a chick and go, hey, we want to go out? Yeah, play in a band. You want to go out with me? Is it then okay? Or when is it okay? Do I have to make $100,000 first? What's the threshold? Do I get to define that or does somebody else get to define that? Because at some point you're going to be like, chicks are going to go, hey, you look like a winner. You want to go out sometime? How you doing? At what point is it okay? That's my main question about like the chase excellence thing. I'm not saying that Rich is wrong. I'm saying he's actually 100% right. I'm just saying where is it okay to go to say, you know what, I might make a little effort and go after that chick. What can I do? What do we got here? Oh, let's just think. At what point? When is it okay? So what she's talking about here when it comes to forced sexual copulation, right? That fear is not so much about those allegations. It's not even about that. I mean, gosh, if it was just about that, guys would probably still approach. It's not. It's that it's so sensitive. It's that it's now assault to look at a woman the wrong way. It's an assault for a beta male to make a woman feel uncomfortable. It is for a guy who's socially awkward, who wants to get with a hot girl that even if she has a Skrillex haircut, he wants to get with that girl, and he's out of his lane. He's out of his league. He's out of his lane. He says, you know what? I'm gonna go and give it the old college try, right? And she shoots him down and everything, and it's no longer about just getting rejected. It's, oh, he made me feel uncomfortable. There's signs at bars right now. And I know this because I've been doing these promos. I see these signs at bars that says, if a guy's making you feel uncomfortable, if you see giving you the creep vibes, text this word, whatever the safe word is to this number. And then the bartender will have him ejected, or we'll get the bouncer or something like that. You don't have to even say anything. They want to make that kind of like remove him from the sexual marketplace as convenient as possible for women. And that's really what it ends up being. Yeah, are there creeps? Sure. Would I want them to come onto my daughter? No. Okay, I understand that. Yeah, are there a lot of guys who are just yeah, I get it. There are. And I don't want any woman to feel uncomfortable. But here's the thing is that in a gynocentric social order, we criminalize men's approaching women. We criminalize them for actually having some sort of interest, or even as lamely as they might have the best of intentions, right? But they're just socially, especially today, they're socially awkward. They don't know what they're doing. And they come onto that chick and she feels weird. She feels like he's a creep. And that creepiness is enough to trigger this response that says, well, I've got recourse. That's number one. Number two is this, is you're a high value guy and she wants to get with you. You don't want to get with her. Guess what? Now she's got recourse. Now that's the Brett Kavanaugh situation. You want, or the Bill Cosby situation. I'm not saying that he didn't do what he did. I don't know. I don't know, but I do know this. He just got out on technicality and he was willing to go the 10 years that he had to go because he maintained his innocence all the way up. All the way through that. So was he just sort of swept up in the dragnet that was Me Too? I don't know. Now, that's the situation. You can have your opinions about it. You can have the way you feel about things. That's fine. I get it. I understand. I'm trying to look at this from both sides here, ladies. But the fact of the matter is this. It's not that every woman will. It's that any woman can. That's the difference. That's the difference between men and women when it comes to the global sexual marketplace right now. It's not that every woman will, it's that any woman can. And that's where these guys, and especially if they've already got this predilection to like not approach and to not, and they're black pill incel doomers and they don't want to have anything to do with women. And they're just like, okay, I'm fed up. I'm done. I don't want to do it. And they're looking for a rationale. That's an easy rationale. I don't want to get a sexual assault because I'm lame as it is. And if I did that and I tried to pick up on that girl, I tried to learn game even slightly, then she can always, and it doesn't even matter if it's now, it could be 10 years from now. And then the girl that I thought I was with and I thought it was really cool with, she calls me a creep. And now sexual assault. And now here I am 10 years later, I've made partner in the law team. I've got my own business. I've got more value and she wants some of that value. Ask Tim Pool. Tim Pool knows. Even it was his girlfriend. I think it's his girlfriend. That was his girlfriend and his brother. Like he's getting sued right now, and because he's got a lot of money. It didn't happen in 2015 when she sat talking about all this stuff. I don't know the details. I don't want to get into too much detail, but as soon as the guy gets a reasonable amount of success, that's when, oh well, you know what? I want to retroactively remove that consent that I gave him. In fact, even Bill Cosby, right? The girl who put Cosby in jail, she waited right up until the very last day that she could file or that she could like process the thing. Waited to the very last day. And I'm fairly certain, God bless him, I love Bill Cosby, but like he's not long for this world. And people he's a big fish, and a lot of people want a piece of that big fish right now. If that's how they have to do it, then that's how they have to do it. But again, that's a rationale. So again, she's right, but she's right for the wrong reason. The reason why guys don't approach is, first of all, they're kind of, most guys who use this as an excuse, it's sort of like their reason not to do anything. It's proving a negative, right? I don't have to do anything. I'm a winner. Shoot the arrow and paint the target around it. I win. A bullseye. Doesn't work that way. But I do understand why these guys feel that way. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. They do, if that's how you are, fine. It's not that every woman will. It's that any woman can.
Not a reason not to go out and date and get laid. This is a reason not to rape or assault. And if you're watching this channel, I hope that you are cognizant and being conscious and aware of consent and not violating someone's boundaries. Yes, a person can lie. Anyone can lie. I mean, you could lie and say that you stole something from her. You could lie and say that she tried to stab you. I don't know, people lie, but they don't tend to lie about rape and assault, and perpetuating the myth that they...
Oh, but they do lie about that. They do lie about that quite often. In fact, I can point you, Caitlin, to a very famous case where that has happened. Oh, there's probably dozens, right? But I can point you to a very famous case. It's go look it up. It wasn't too long ago. It was called the UVA Rolling Stone rape hoax. That's what it was. Not my words. That's the title. Okay. The UVA Rolling Stone, forced sexual copulation, bullshit story. Okay. Go look it up. The UVA, I forget the name of the frat, but there was a story written by Sabrina Erdley, who is famous for looking for sensational stories just like this one that she sold to Rolling Stone for quite a bit of money. Rolling Stone found out later on, of course, and she did too, that it was entirely fabricated. The entire story was fabricated. But up until that point, and this was 2014, up until that point, and I remember because I was covering this, I was writing articles about this at the time. Right up until that point, if you had any doubts about that story, you were a misogynist or you were a rape apologist. That's what they called you. And you couldn't have any doubt. Believe all women. Doubtless. Don't say any. In fact, she's almost made the case here too. Well, women don't lie about that. No, they do quite often, especially if it's in their best interests. And I think you're going to see, I've said this before too, is I think you're going to see a rise, and maybe it's an incremental rise, but I think you're going to see a rise in like sexual assault or sexual harassment cases. That's going to go up and up and up. And the reason for that is because the marriage rate is going down and the divorce rate is going down. And how do women mostly in this world make a lot of money? Through divorce. The 10 richest women on planet Earth made their fortunes through either their husband dying, through family money, or through divorce. None of them built their empires. The empires that they're overseeing right now, none of them were instrumental in it whatsoever. Their husbands were, or their fathers were, or they received the money that they have to be one of the 10 richest women in the world through divorce. Now, you remove divorce, you remove a resource transfer from men to women. So how do you replace that? Well, in the age of social media, it's really easy. All you have to do is be suspected of that, allegations of that. Tell you what, I'll erase my tweet if you give me $10,000. Right? I won't bring this up. That kind of stuff. And if you hit up a guy who is a high value guy who's a blue pill dude, he's probably, or a guy who's a celebrity, a guy who's got like a squeaky clean like character that he is, like Cosby maybe, or whoever. Name the guy, name the actor. Get that guy and say and call into question his character. And it's always about sex too. You never know. You ever understand that? Because if it's a woman, we don't care. We think women are repressed, right? We're supposed to empower women by being sexual. So if she's sexually aggressive, or she manhandles a guy on The View or something, like an actor, or she squeeze, touching and flirt, that's okay. That's acceptable, but it is not okay for a man to do that. And the reason for that is because there's a liability that's associated with that. And that liability is, if you do this, that's harassment, and therefore you will give me some money. Women can do that all day long. Well, what are you not man enough to flirt with me? Huh? Like she gets down to sexy husky voice all the time too. So when it comes to that, you have to remember we live in a gynocentric social order. So let me get back to what I was saying. As far as the UVA rape case was concerned, you got a complete fabrication of this. And by the way, the end result of that in 2019, I believe, like 5 years later, well, first of all, I don't know if Sabrina Erdley is still writing. Probably is. Probably no repercussions for her whatsoever. But the guys and the fraternity that was at UVA, they're forever besmirched, right? They're forever called into question. And even if they found a cure for cancer, that asterisk is still next to their name. And they know that. And you know how I know that they know that? Because Rolling Stone had to pay out $4.7 million or 4.3, somewhere around there, $4.5 million to settle that case, because they were stupid enough to publish that libel. Essentially became libel. But it's not even so much the money at that point. It's what happened to the society, what happened to Western culture during that time. So that's why, Caitlin, guys are like, are hesitant. They're cautious, and rightly so, intelligently so, wisely so. They're cautious about that. Now, are they overcautious? Well, you can make that case. That's why I say you're right for the wrong reasons. But it's not because they're like, they are genuinely worried about stuff like that. It's that they're just overly cautious, and they're using that as sort of their reason for not doing anything.
They do is frankly quite damaging, and I find it to be personally infuriating. As the survivor of a rape myself, I'm personally really hurt by the idea that women would lie about this. Well, it got serious.
Well, then that's something that you need to take up with the women who do actually do that. Maybe we should put you in touch with Sabrina Erdley so you can vent your frustration and anger at her instead of these nebulous guys who you think are bottling out as a result of allegations that are in this, well, at least in that case, are created by women. So what are you going to do?
There for a moment, so again, more so. Number 10, feminists hate men and are out to destroy them. Feminism is a movement based on equal rights for men and women, not matriarchy, not women taking over, not women controlling the means of production in society. I think that this is a divide and conquer style strategy where we try to tear groups of women down and apart in order to maintain power over them. That's my personal thought. And yes, I am coming out as a feminist. Oh my gosh, if you unsubscribe because that offends you, I'm fine with that. It's 2020, man.
This is just her personal admission of like her statement of ideology, her statement of belief. Okay. First of all, today is 2021. I don't know what the stats are, but the last time Milo brought these up, I think it was like 2018. He was saying like only like 11 or 12% of the population of women anyways identifies as feminists. Now, I've been on record, and I'll say this again, is that feminism, identifying or calling yourself a feminist today is effectively meaningless because everything that we think of, just having the conversations that we've had for the last 2 hours here, is a result of an education that has been influenced in some way since 1965, maybe even soon, maybe even earlier than that, about feminism. Feminist ideology has influenced Western culture in irrevocable ways since certainly the sexual revolution, certainly since women got into education and we became reliant on women educating our people, right? Our children. But feminism has never been about equality. I did a whole, I don't even know if I really need to get into this myth right here because I've talked about it. It's never been about equality. It has always been about power. It has always been, and you can look at the literature. It doesn't even have to be like militant feminism from the 70s. You can go all the way back to 1849 and the list of grievances, from the first, what was it? The summit of, the hell is it? Oh, Seneca Falls, New York. You go and you look at the literature of that time. That was only 300 people got together, and most of them were men. And they put together this list of grievances, or this essentially what amounted to a feminist manifesto. We would call it a manifesto now, but it amounted to a feminist manifesto in 1848. I believe it's 1848, 1849, Seneca Falls, New York. You go and you look at that. It is not about equality. It's not, it's about, certain parts of it you could certainly read that way, but it's never been about that. And you know how we know that? Because we can look around us right now and we can look at a gynocentric social order and we can see that the correct way to think about things is through a female lens. Is the only correct life experience now is to live like a woman, to experience life like a woman. We just saw this a second ago and showed, well, women want vulnerability, emotion, this and this and that. Yeah, that's what women want. That's what they want you to believe is correct. And if you do these things and if you align yourself with that as a man, you're going to get laid. You're going to get laid more. She said that in the very beginning of this whole video. Do you think that's going to happen? Or is it the polarities, the differences between men and women, or is it the similarities between men? Is it the similarities of men towards women that makes for arousal and attraction? I argue the latter, or the first, right? It is the biological polarity. It is the evolutionary polarity. It is the differences that make us attracted to one another, not the similarities. And she's a product, by the way, of gynocentrism. She's a product of the last 60, 65 years since the sexual revolution of feminist ideology. But yet we're still supposed to take her advice as gospel. We're still supposed to believe that these are like, I've debunked every single one of these myths, right? And probably expounded on a few of them myself. But we're still supposed to, but this is what this entire thing is, what we're expected to believe is the correct way to think. Well, it's about equality. No, it has never been about equality. Feminism has only ever been about retribution and restitution. There are no waves of feminism. It is the same feminism that it is today that it used to be way back in 1848 at Seneca Falls. Same thing. The only reason we call it different, or the only reason we say, first wave feminism was the good feminism. No, it's the same impetus, the same thing. It's just been separated by wars, World War I, it's been separated by wars and civil unrest and social situations. And then finally, right around 1965, when we had the advent of hormonal birth control that we unilaterally gave the power over to women for reproduction, that's when it came into its own. Because now they hold all the cards. Oh, okay. Well, fine. We don't have to casual sex. We wouldn't even be having that conversation about that myth about casual sex. You wouldn't have that. You would not even have that conversation back in 1958 because hormonal birth control didn't exist, or certainly wasn't. Maybe we were working on it then. You wouldn't have those conversations. Say, well, it's a moral thing or it's an ethical. No. It's a historical thing. It simply couldn't have happened because no invention existed at that time that could have moved things along. Feminism, nobody talked about feminism in the 40s or the 50s or even like the first, 3 or 4 years of the 60s. Then once hormonal birth control became a thing, then you get the free love movement, then you get Woodstock, then you get the boomers, then you get key parties and swingers and Studio 54 and AIDS and no fault divorce and abortion and divorce rates climb. And, we get the Duluth model of feminism. It's the same thing. It has always been about power. It's never been about equality. If it was about equality, we wouldn't call it feminism. We would call it equalism, which is what I've tried to call it. But people don't want to talk about it. That's not taken off. Equalism didn't take off. Feminism. Oh, yeah. We get the little ladies up here, because if you're on board, if you align with the women, again, remember, if you're a male feminist, really what you're doing is you're saying, I identify with females. I identify with that. I believe if you're a male feminist, track with me here. If you're a male feminist, would you agree with this comment? First of all, I believe in equality, blah, 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 blah. Would you say that you think that the female experience is the correct experience? Because you're probably living as if the female experience is the correct experience. We should teach our kids to do these things. We should teach our boys as if they're defective girls. Well, everything that we're at right now from a social perspective, and people, we're degenerates and what was it, a dildo rainbow butt monkey or whatever that tweet that was going around, right? Or what is it, drag queen story hour in the libraries. All of that is all of that's the product of putting women in charge and putting women into positions of power. Because then we don't care. We don't care about judgment, right? Clearly we don't. We started this whole thing about it. Don't be judgmental. When it comes to dildo rainbow butt monkey, I'm going to be judgmental. Sorry, maybe it's just me, but and I don't even think I'm all that. I don't think I'm all that. I'm not a raging lunatic. I just don't want crazy people teaching my kids. But apparently that's the way we're going to do it. So. Anyways, I'm gonna pull. We've gone over, and I need to get back to some of these things. She just basically talks about how she's a feminist and all that other good stuff right after this. So if you want to watch this entire video, and we're almost at the end of it, anyways. If you want to watch the entire video, you can pull that out. You can watch it on. I've got the link in the description here. So, long story short, is that when we're talking about myths, the reason why I want to cover all of this and try to sum things up here for you, the reason I wanted to cover this is because these myths that she thinks are myths are not really myths at all. They're just declarations of ideology. That's what they come down to. You should believe this. If you don't believe this, you're not going to get laid. It's the same thing. Remember I did the show about the manhood medal? A real man does this. Well, a manhood medal is one thing. Well, you're going to be, I get real authentic masculinity because I married a single mom. I get real masculinity because I believe in your religion, or I believed in the way you think about things, or I'm an alpha because I have a business and No, what she's saying here is, now you're not going to get laid unless you believe like this. And that's one thing to have this little sort of, feather in your cap about, I'm a good guy because I do what women tell me to. It's another thing to say, you're not going to reproduce unless you believe these things. That's the salient message of this entire thing. That's why I did this whole thing. It is not only is it gaslighting, but it is also holding hostage at least the perception that you're not going to get laid. And what is that? Right? I don't think enough people understand this definition or this distinction. Okay. Proximate cause versus ultimate cause. So I want to get laid. I'm sure you do. I do. Everybody else does. Everybody wants some. But that's the proximate cause. It's like, I enjoy sex. I like hot chicks. I like big boobs. I like a nice ass. I like blonde hair. I like blue eyes. How about it? You know, pornography, prostitution, all that other good stuff. That's not been around as long as it has because people have some sort of higher order business to take care of. It's because that's how the machine is built. Simple as that. But now you're saying if you don't believe what I believe, you're not going to reproduce. That's the ultimate cause. So the I want to get laid is the proximate cause. The ultimate cause is if you don't do what I say, you won't have children. Your genetic legacy will be a dead end if you don't do these things. Because that's the ultimate side of things. So, you know, we want to feel good and we want to get laid. Got it. But ultimately, that's solving you will not solve your reproductive problem unless you believe like I believe. And that's a really tough. I mean, people don't like it when you like, so you're reading so much into it, Rollo. No, I'm just seeing the forest for the trees. Trees are the proximate cause. The ultimate cause is the forest. And the ultimate cause of that force is power, control. It's why we live in a gynocentric social order. Well, men need to be better and then women will be better too. Well, you might have a point there. But the only way you're going to change that is if you change the machine, not the mind so much. I mean, you're getting guys to like say, okay, guys, we're going to go on a sex strike. Go look up. There's a great comedy called Lysistrata. See how that worked out for the girls in Lysistrata. I hope I'm saying that right, Lysistrata. But it's like you're going on sex strike or marriage strike, right? Remember when Dr. Helen Smith wrote that book, like Marriage Strike, Men on Strike. No, they're not on strike. They're just not getting laid. Nobody wants to bang those guys. They want to bang the other guy. They want to bang. I've talked about this a couple times too, is that we're heading towards a polygamous society right now. We're making poly more and more acceptable and normalized. At the same time, we have Drag Queen Story Hour and Rainbow Butt Monkey, right? So what's the solution? Where do you go with this? I can't just leave you hanging. So my suggestion for you is this: is know this stuff. I mean, I know it's the G.I. Joe ending, right? Knowing is half the battle. Now you know, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to live your life? You're going to be more cautious now that you've got these things. It's not sexy. I'm not sexy. I am not sexy. At least the maybe my acting is sexy. I'm dead sexy when I'm on camera right now, but it's to lay out things rationally and reasonably. That is in defiance of how it feels to women. So if I'm going to say, here, I'm going to debunk all of these myths. You probably didn't. If you're watching this and you're watching the live stream, thank you for watching the whole thing, because 90% of the people who watch this will never watch this all the way to the end. We're at 221 right now. They'll never watch it all the way to the end. They'll never get this last message that you are getting. I'm imparting to you right now. And that is this, is that what are you going to use this data for? Especially when you have this data and you understand this and you can't really use it for anything other than your own personal edification and your own, like, it's okay, well, I'm going to live differently as a result of this, or I'm going to protect myself as a result of this. I hope you do. But a lot of people think that the red pill, I just answered this a little while ago on Twitter. Some go, I think Rollo he's a has-been. He's teaching men not to like women. No. And if you haven't heard already, there's a very famous Rollo quote, right? And it's this: the red pill exists not so you will hate women, it is so that you won't hate women for what they can never be to you. And that is why we debunk myths like this. So that you know what that woman can never be to you. Because if you believe in all this crap that she's throwing at you, well, you're on your own, man. You'll learn. You will learn one way or another, but it's not sexy. It doesn't feel good. Whenever I'm on Fresh and Fit, and like I was on Fresh and Fit with Hotep in January, and Hotep Jesus. And Hotep Jesus knows he defaults to game. I mean, he is like a natural player. He's a natural organic guy who understands game, and he understands women's nature. And so his instinct is to appeal to emotion with those women. Oh, hey, what sign are you? Right. Oh, I believe we're vibing. Right. I was glad we need to make a t-shirt that says vibing. But he vibes with these girls, for lack of a better word. He vibes with these girls automatically, and they love it, and they get off on it, and it feels good. Rollo TOMASSI goes on there and says, statistically speaking, women are hypergamous, and from an evolutionary standpoint, men perform and women choose, and blah blah. And I'm Mr. fucking Professor, right? I'm Bill Nye the Science Guy when I go on there. That's not sexy. Rollo TOMASSI on that show, if I was single, he would not be getting laid. Hotep Jesus will be getting laid because he's playing the game. Again, women don't want to be told they are playing a game. They want you to play with them, and play with them. And you have to just get it. And you have to imply that. And when Hotep's on there, he just, like, women, when they first encounter, I've seen it happen. They first encounter that guy, they know he gets it because he's speaking that language. It's not like, hey, are you down to fuck? That's not what he's saying, but he's vibing enough and he's direct. He is direct. I think I got criticized not too long ago from Alan Roger Curry. It's like, I'm not trying to attack you, Alan. I'm not trying to attack Mode 1 or anything like that. I've said 1,000,000 times that I think you're spot on about the direct side of things, but I also think that there needs to be some nuance that's applied to that too. That doesn't fit into your marketing arrangement, then I don't know what to tell you. But if I go and I look at a guy like Hotep Jesus, he's very direct, but he's also speaking the language that these women want to talk. They want to be played with. They want that player, and they want to know that player just gets it. That player knows he's playing a game. She knows she's playing a game. They both know it, but they don't talk about it. They just do it. They just play it. I know that sounds really zen and everything, but that's simply how it happens. He didn't go, hey, are you down to fuck, bitch? No, you're not. Okay, next. Oh, hey, are you down to fuck? No. Hey, are you down to fuck? No, there is a nuance, and there's a game, and there's a dance that goes along with that. You can be direct about that for sure, but even in your directness, you're still playing the game. So, ta-da! There you go. Let me go back through these. Thank you, Sammy, for keeping up with these for me. I think I answered a few of these, or I read a couple of these as I went along, so you'll have to bear with me here. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Okay, I got to AQ. Samurai Flack said this. He says, in the future, I guess most women will have OnlyFans while demanding you date her exclusively. Yeah. Every man wants a slut, except he wants her to be his slut. That's the paternity instinct. Men have a paternity instinct. Sorry, not sorry. That's why you get jealous. Jealous men. Psychological jealousy in men was selected for by evolutionary pressures. That's why you get jealous. There's a point to it. There's a latent purpose of jealousy. It's to ensure paternity. That's why. If you go against that, you try to eroticize it and turn it into some new poly-alternative relationship lifestyle, you get what you deserve. And sometimes it's ugly. The Drive Inside. Nice name. Can we please get the video of why women are attracted to creative men? I think I did this not too long ago. This was about creative intelligence. I've talked about this before. Your content is seriously life-changing. We appreciate all that you do. Yeah, I'll put it in a note. I think I might have done this before, but I have several articles about creative intelligence. In fact, the title of one of them is called Creative Intelligence. So go check that out. Fresh and Fit. I see you. Oh, wait. Fresh. Oh, man. Here we go. Thank you for that $4.99 contribution. And I know it's fresh because Myron's probably still sleeping right now. Thank you for that, my friend. Modern women think that, sorry, this is Kyle. I talked to Kyle. Kyle, we already got to you. Sorry, my friend. Nick J, thanks for that $19.99. Kyle said this, modern women. Okay, you got me twice. Good mother, I talked to you. Good mother, Santa Maria. Ross Perot. Nice. Men are sexually repressed, if anyone. Oh, he was talking about what I was talking about, sexual repression. Yeah, if you think about it, but are they? Because the 80%ers who can't get laid, they take porn away, and then you might have a case. Take easily accessible, ubiquitous 4K streaming free pornography, and you might have a case. Mr. Steal Yo Black says there's a minimum of 10 strip clubs in Ulaanbaatar, capital of Mongolia. I knew that you could do it. I knew that you could do this. I trust my guys like no other. Wait, here, you get one of these. This is my new signature move. Where are the Cheetos? There, you get a Cheetos. How's that? Let's see. Marcus David said, is the U.S. leaving to the Taliban take over Afghanistan a victory against global feminazism? No, that's as best I can put it. Just because the Taliban moves back into the territories that we pushed them out of doesn't. Well, Taliban are repressive. Yeah, give me. You know what I would here? I will make you. You want a bold statement? Here's a bold statement. Even if the Taliban move back into Afghanistan, I will guarantee you that maybe not in the near future, but sometime in the future, feminization, feminism, gynocentrism will eventually assimilate the Taliban within a few generations. Maybe not 2, maybe 3. Eventually they will, because their women will want to play ball just as much as anybody else. Everybody wants some. Go listen to that song. David Lee Roth was ahead of his time. Kyle says Martians killing everything in sight. Don't run. We are your friends. Don't run. We are your friends. Fred Friedman Sowell says you may say spin plates. Okay, I talked about this. This was Clary's thing. He said Clary says if he became single again, he wouldn't pursue women. Not worth doing it. Do you agree or disagree? Well, what if I found myself single tomorrow? Would I get married? No. Would I? Because that ship has sailed, man. On Tuesday, by the way, I'm definitely going to live stream this shit. On Tuesday, I will have been married 25 years to the same woman. I've never been divorced. How clear do I need to make this for you? Okay. Don't listen to the liar named the president of the manosphere. He's full of shit. Don't listen to his proxies. Don't listen to the people who are towing his line. Don't listen to whoever he's paying off, because I know he's paid some guys off. Don't listen to that bullshit. Don't listen to rumors. You come here to the source and I will tell you the truth. I had 25 years as of Tuesday. And he knows this because there's a time where he said, I really want what you have. Yeah, you would probably wear my skin if you could. Let's see. So would I get married again? No. Would I date again? Probably. Still want to get laid, but I probably wouldn't do much more than spin plates if that's what you're asking. So yeah, yes and no. Drew and Pringle says, give some support to Rollo. Thanks for helping men. You are welcome. Thank you for your $5 contribution, my friend. Alex Boogie says, any advice for a follower of Roosh who wants to continue to the player lifestyle, fresh and fit, or modern life dating? Both. Yeah. And then I've got a game book coming out. I'm not going to call it Game because I know Rouge Cal used to have a book called Game before he deleted all that stuff. As far as like you want to live the player lifestyle, you know what I should call it? Maybe thank you for this, Alex. I'm going to call the 5th book, the game book, I'm going to call it the Player's Handbook. How cool would that be? Player lifestyle, Player's Handbook, right? How about that? Yeah, wait, give me about 6 more weeks, maybe 2 months, and then let's talk. AQ says, have you ever written anything about how women with shaved heads, colored hair, tattoos, piercings, etc. are, God, I wish I would have saw this earlier, are similar to poisonous animals in that their vibrant coloring is a way to say, leave me alone. Yes, it's called apositism is what it's called. I know exactly what it is because there's a meme about it, by the way. It's not because look at the big brain on Rollo. No, it's like if you have a brightly colored fish or a brightly colored snake or a brightly colored frog or whatever, those are the poisonous ones. It's like, leave me alone. Maybe there might be, I know you're joking, but maybe it might be kind of like, watch out for this one. Or it could be or it could be like the flower. Come check me out. I'm special. I have purple hair. I have fuchsia hair. I left my underarm pits to grow. I don't know, whatever else it could be, but yes. Yeah, I know it's a joke and I know it's funny. PP gave me $100 to touch his PP, so I did. DNO said, just tuned in, going to start from the beginning, but just bought 4th Rational Mail books. Good. From Denmark. Yay. Wow, Denmark. Thank you. That's the motherland. I am actually ethnically, nationally Danish. Not Italian. What the fuck, man? Come on. Rollo is on fuego. Yes, thank you very much. I came in hot. I wanted to get back into this. I like doing these shows solo. because I like to listen to my own voice. Isador Calderon says, no criticism for the single mom on picking up the wrong guy in the first place. Yes, yeah, that will never be shamed. St. Jim's with the Punisher icon says, love you, Rollo. Love you too. But from experience, they get loose after use. Oh, the roasties. The roasties section of today's podcast. I have been with women before, after childbirth. Yeah, I have too. And yeah, there's a noticeable difference. I think it's, again, that's not as I said in that section, St. Jim, it's not about loose or tight. Technically you can make a case for either, but like it did or it didn't, but that's not what she's talking about. The myth isn't about like whether she's actually loose or she doesn't care about that. She just cares about the impression that guys have because again, anything that supports the idea that women's agency, women's sexual agency is evergreen is always going to be something that is reinforced in a gynocentric social order. Always. It doesn't matter that you're 80 pounds, 100 pounds, 300 pounds overweight. Girl, you look fine. It's because those guys and that socially conditioned men who have this socially conditioned belief that beauty is only one way. You don't have to be a centerfold with blonde hair, big tits, and blue eyes. You can be anything you want. Live your truth, girl. Yeah, you know what that serves? That serves the idea that the false idea that women can be attractive and arousing at any size, at any age, at any income bracket. There is in girl world, there are no standards whatsoever for women, whatsoever. So like when women get really upset that, guys have unrealistic beauty standards, bullshit. Men have very loose standards when it comes to beauty. We'll bang anything, man. It's like anything's on the menu. You don't believe me? Go look at all the niches of porn. Blonde hair, blue hair, skinny, fat, thin, tan, white, spinners, muscular girls, skinny girls, this girl, that girl, blonde hair, brown hair, black girls, Asian girls, Latino girls, midgets. Come on, man. Come on, man. Women are the ones that have the higher standard of beauty for men. It's always been that Greco-Roman look. That's increasingly more difficult in the age of like easily accessible food today. Why are most of the population of the United States, 70%, 75%, they're overweight and or obese. Yeah, of course. That makes sense, right? If you have an obese think about this. Man, where's Cappy when I need him? You have an obese population, and women's primary sexual power, their agency is based on younger, hotter, tighter. It's based on how good they look and how sexually available they are. Looks and availability. And in a population where at least, as far as I know, 70% of them are overweight or obese, you have two choices. Those girls either come up with some sort of social paradigm that says, we all need to get in shape, girls. Or you go the easy route and go, let's change the game for us fat girls so that we can get laid too. Sounds like we should be telling girls about fat acceptance or age acceptance or, maturity or men are infantile. And all of that, by the way, falls down if you remove two things, the blank slate and social constructionism. You remove social constructionism, even if you just like the blank slate is bad enough. Okay, that's the worst part of all of this whole equation. But even if you had that still installed and you remove social constructionism, well, if you move the blank slate, it would kill off social constructionism. But you would have to prove that social constructionism is horseshit, or it's certainly less influential than it's not the only thing, right? It's not nature and nurture. It's always nurture, right? Nurture. That's the whole thing. Society exists, or men are the way they are because of society. No, we were born this way. What's funny is we can say like, I love how we have this biological rationale for homosexuality, right? I was born this way. Well, I'm a dude. How come I can't be born that way? You were made that way because of, the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition cover. Bullshit. How come? So it's this convenient definition of what reality is or what truth is or what objective reality, empirical, obvious differences between men and women. All that is based on, well, for women, it's one thing and for men, it's another thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. There's an objective standard of truth. There's an objective standard of like reality. And I think we live in a gynocentric social order. We will continue to persist living outside of that reality because we want to make women, in this case, want to make the reality accommodate their deficiencies to play that game. They want the game to change to accommodate their deficiencies in which they can play that game. That's why you get fat acceptance. And that's how you get age acceptance. And that's what that whole roasties. Who came up with roasties? Roast beef. How come it's not pastrami's? Wouldn't that be more accurate? Jeffrey Jones, thank you for the work you've done. You're are doing. You are the godfather for a reason. You're a friend from Naugatuck, Kentucky, Connecticut. Naugatuck, Connecticut. That's where I shot that scene, and you're going to see that very soon. Thank you, Jeff. It was good to. Oh, I know Jeff. Jeff was the one who tracked me down. If you look at my Instagram, you'll know who Jeff is. You know what? I'm gonna stop. Let's stop the show. I don't have that sound effect. We're gonna stop the show. Jeff actually tracked me down in Naugatuck, Connecticut, because I guess he lives close by there. It was in the morning too. I remember I was doing there shooting the scene. Excuse me. I told this story yesterday on Real Zero. I was shooting the scene with Kevin Save-A-Hoe. And I was outside taking a break, and it's just pure chance, right? I was outside of the club, the bar in the club, and I was just taking a break there. It was just me who was out there, and up rolls this guy, and it's Jeff. And Jeff comes up to me and goes, "Hey, are you Rollo Tomassi?" And I thought maybe it was one of like Kevin's crew at first. It wasn't. It was this guy Jeff who saw my Instagram post because I was just kind of like casually posting things, and I happened to put the geolocation on, and he knew I was in Naugatuck, right? And he's like, "Oh, I gotta go find this guy." Now, remember, it's like maybe it's 8 o'clock in the morning at that time. I've been there since 6. I just happen to be outside. He rolls up and says, "Hey, can I talk to you about something?" I'm like, "Where did this dude come from?" And he does. He just rolls. He says, "Well, there's only so many clubs in Naugatuck, so I knew it had to be one or two of these." And I saw you out here, and I thought, "Hey, I'm going to stop and say hi." And so he did. He tracked me down. It was incredible. One of the most incredible Rollo Tomassi stories I think I've ever had. Thank you, Jeff, for stopping by. Bobby McBob says, when you read the research, it also shows a third category. Oh, this is for the forced sexual copulation segment that said inclusive. Oh, inconclusive, meaning which made about 35% lazy green used the same argument a while ago. Yeah. And so what she's saying is like, they wasn't necessarily that they were invalid. It was that they're inconclusive. And so there's 35%. You knock that off. Still, numbers are numbers. Numbers are what they are, but you'll notice that the language is always massaged when it comes down to that. Bradford Hogue says, Rollo, a woman lied on a man and the entire town of Tulsa, Oklahoma was burned down. Yeah, you know, another thing, and this is just, like, she was talking about forced sexual copulation from a Western American kind of sense here. In India, man, if you are even suspected of raping a woman, they will just drag you out in the street and shoot you and kill you. Shoot you dead, man. Because that's their thing. So yeah, so it might make sense to actually be a little bit cautious, somewhat. I know casual sex is something, we were trying to explain how women really like that casual sex. Well, you wouldn't have that conversation, like I said, in the 50s, and you sure as shit won't have it in India even today. Off topic, any thoughts on Tusk and Troy streams? I think they've been pretty good. I've been watching a couple of them. I think they were having some technical difficulties when I was trying to look at them because they were trying to run around the city. I'll probably have Tusk and Troy on again soon. I want to get them on. I'm going to try to get James Tusk, Troy Francis. I'm going to get this guy Justin, and who's the roommate of Sterling Cooper. I'm going to get them all on one stream, and we're going to talk about the current state of game at some point, because I think they would be really good interviews. Amar. Well, hot damn, Amar, I got all the way up to you. In one of her videos, she said that she was forced to do someone time, do shit one time. I don't know. She also admitted that the She forced herself on a hot guy. Oh, well, like I said, maybe it goes one way and it doesn't go the other. What's fine for thee is not for me, right? Or me is not for thee. I probably butchered that pretty well. Okay. That was Amar. And I got Timius Maximus. Thank you for that $10. Insanity says, problem is unfortunate that they say the same thing about man on woman rape. It's not that every man will, it's that every man can. Yeah, they'll say that. Well, every man is strong enough to do that. You teach men not to, right? Well, how about we do both? Okay. How about we just do both? Can we do that? Because at least that would be a step in the quote unquote equality direction, right? To presume that. Now, you want to get really ugly? Forced sexual copulation is something that is very common in the animal kingdom. In fact, some breeds of insects actually develop appendages to hook the female so that they can actually impregnate the female. So as a sexual strategy in the animal kingdom, whether it's mammals or it's insects or reptiles or whatever, the forced copulation is a very common thing. I'm not saying it's right. This is not the myth of the noble savage. What's natural is not always what's ethical or moral. I understand that. I think it's a horrible, horrible thing. There you go. I'm not apologizing for anything. I'm just saying if we're looking at motives, that's the motive. There's nothing that is more, nothing that is more, let's say, damaging, nothing that's more hurtful, nothing that's more violent. That was the word I was looking at. Nothing that's more violating than that, especially for women, right? Because what it does, the reason why women fear that so much is because it goes against the existential fear of women, which is essentially that they will have their sexual selection removed from them, and they will be forced to have a baby of a man that is not of their choosing. So whether that's through deception or that is through force, that is the existential fear of women, that they would have hypergamy, that the control of hypergamy removed from them in any way. That's why women don't like arranged marriages. Women could very easily equate, and probably do, equate prearranged marriages in certain cultures with forced sexual copulation, let's just say. Let's see. Timius, I got to you. Son of Rollo. Son of Rollo. I don't have any sons. Do I? You're all my sons. What am I saying? You guys are all my sons. Son of Rollo. Sons of Rollo. Sons of Rollo. I need a t-shirt. I'm going to do merch. Do you think I should do merch? People keep asking me for merch. I had an idea while I was flying back from Connecticut that I might do a t-shirt, or I might do a hat or a beanie or something like that. But it came to me. It just kind of came to me in a dream. How can we keep constant motivation to work on looks, money, and game? It fluctuates. How do we protect ourselves from being zeroed out if we want children? Well, I can't give you a uniformed prescription. Okay. My first thing would be this. Okay. And gosh, I'm just going to have to do an AMA at some point because you guys have a lot of really good questions today. The question is this: what are you most deficient on? Are you most deficient on looks? Are you most deficient on money? Or are you most deficient on game? Because usually what happens is, because and this is the male trifecta, right? Men want three things, according to our good friend. This guy right here. According to this dude right here, men want three things: make money, make muscle, and learn game, right? So that's the hot guy in the foam cannon party. I'm going to keep that is stuck in my overlays from now on, John. Sorry. So what do you think most guys are deficient at of those three? Looks, money, and muscles, right? I mean, looks, money, and game. Which one do you think men are the most deficient at right now? Most guys are going to say looks. Well, if that's the case, if you're a looks maxer, if you're like one of these guys, that's all looks, I'm doomed. What is it? I got a unichin. Get in the gym. Go work out. What's your fucking excuse, man? I'm 53 years old. I look better than 90% of these guys. How is that? How is it that I am in shape? I'm by comparison, I'm certainly ripped. I'm 53 years old. What is your excuse? Go look at those pictures of me with the guys in Connecticut. Look at the pictures of my Instagram. Look what people are saying about me when I'm at Fresh and Fit, or God forbid, I'm wearing a tank top or something because it's bloody hot, right? People, he's yoked. I can't believe Rollo got yoked. We must be on TRT. No, I'm not on TRT. I don't need TRT. I just go and I do. I'm persistent about it. You know what my TRT is? It's the damn squat rack. That's my TRT. So if it's looks, why are you not a fitness guru? If you think it's all about looks and looks maxing, you should have there's a very lucrative business waiting for you as a fitness coach. Why are you not doing that? If that's your belief, if that's your religion, I gotta look good looking. Okay. Why are you not doing that? Why are you not living in the gym? Why are you not a gym cell? Well, is it money? Are you deficient in money? Well, there's lots of resources for that. Are you deficient in game? There's lots of resources for that. You can be red pill and still be deficient in all three of those. Red pill is just an awareness. Remember that. It's not like, oh, this is a guarantee to be a certain way. It's not. You can be red pill and be very, you can be red pill aware and still be a very, very much a beta. And you can be blue pill and still be an alpha. Talked about that lots of times. Those are two mutually exclusive concepts, but most people want to conflate them with the other. Whatever you are most deficient in, I would say start with that. That's number one. And then you said, how do we protect ourselves from being zeroed out? Well, you start by protecting yourselves by knowing is half the battle. There you go. What are you going to do about it? What precautions are you going to take? I still want to have kids. Well, if that's the case, then you're going to have to do some serious vetting about the woman that you want to breed with. I didn't say married. I said breed with, because, and I hate that I have to say that because I've had a pretty good marriage for the last 25 years, but I'm not you. I'm not like you. I'm not like other guys. A little bit of luck, but a lot of red pill awareness. And that's what I attribute the success of my marriage to. And, I understand women's nature and I understand my own nature. I think that's probably even more important. So yeah. How do you protect yourself? Well, you protect yourself. You are wary. Here's how you protect yourself. You have standards. You hold to your standards. I think that's probably the number one way, because a lot of guys, be discerning. That's how you protect yourself. Be judgmental. That's how you protect yourself. See the forest for the trees. See the trees for the forest. That's how you protect yourself. Look, I mean, I can give you like, oh, you want 12? Here's 12 ways. There's no cookie cutter way to do it. But I think awareness and then forming a predictive framework based on that awareness and that understanding is certainly the key to protecting yourself. Let's see what else is here. Sancho sounds like her aim is to appeal to. God damn it! Sorry, it jumped. Sounds like her aim is to appeal to blue pill plugged in men. Yes, the guys who think that her ideal is to appeal to the guys who are still plugged in, who still think, well, I better go to the horse's mouth. As a matter of fact, I've written an essay called The Horse's Mouth that addresses exactly this. Thank goodness for Rollo. Everything I see is now with the red pill lens. Good for you. Go forth, multiply. Bartholomew says the Rational Male podcast is water to the body. Sorry to make you go through a drought. It's needed. A man's time is precious, so use it to educate men. You do not know is priceless. Thank you, man. You are welcome. YOLO. Hey, YOLO's back. Hi. Is ego investment and blue pill conditioning the same? No. In the way that they condition the mind. If not, what is the difference? No, because blue pill conditioning is something that's like kind of like almost out of your choice. You can be invested in blue pill conditioned beliefs for sure, but the fact that you are ego invested in something is not. You can be ego invested in something that's really good for you too. You can be. I know for a fact I am ego invested in understanding the red pill, and as I said before, I have an obligation to objective truth. That's an ego investment. Sorry, not sorry. That's just how it works. We're human beings. That's the machine. We're going to be, you're going to be ego invested in your beliefs no matter what. That's just how we do it, right? That's how we stick to, and until the cognitive dissonance becomes so, unignorable, you'll probably stick to it. That's why women will stick to the most radical, stupid ideas that you like. Oh, let's talk about MBTI. Let's talk about astrology. Go. Let me read your palm. Why does chick crack work so well? Because women have no problem with cognitive dissonance whatsoever. That's where the dividing line is. They're ego invested in magical thinking. that's tough, man. It's not, the ego investment's not a bad thing. It's a feature, not a bug. It's just what you're invested in. So Mohammed Junaid says, currently on Rational Mail Volume 3, you're a godsend, please. Thank you. I am a godsend. Am I? Somebody tell me. Triple G, I got to you. There you are. As always, appreciate the thorough and relatable content. Still wondering when damn I'm tired of being right kicks in. Yeah, it should. Sorry, you don't get a Don DeMarco for only $4.99. Being a prick, sorry. Oh, there we go. Like, come back. God damn it, I missed it. I hate that. I hate it when I like scroll past it and like I had it and I didn't have it. Isidore Calderon says, again, roast beef sandwich was a joke Sam Kinison made about Dr. Ruth. I guess it was Dr. Ruth. Okay, fine. Haha. But yeah, maybe so. But Sam Kinison died like in the late 80s, early 90s. So we're still using that joke. Yeah, we are. Let's see. Joe Merson's Way says, grape point in the UK. A woman got accused of grape by a bloke, cleared out of charges, and now a campaign for anonymity for those accused. Now it affects women. You know, when assault law, when Me Too laws affect women is when it affects their sons and the people that they're involved with, like their loved ones. That's when that's when suddenly it's, remember the cognitive dissonance. You get to that point where it's unignorable. It usually, when women have that protective instinct about their sons, that's when they drop the feminist Me Too garbage, and suddenly now they're MRAs, right? Now they turn into Christina Hoff Sommers, right? Who is it? You need to get Lawrence Fishburne to promote your Rational Mail book series. Okay. I wish I could. And lastly, this is Joe Kerr. Women will never be fully independent because they lack the ability to protect themselves and co-invest paternally. Yes, they have to, because that's just the way the machine is built. No more. I'm not reading anymore. You're done. Don't stop. Now that we've got all the way to the end of this show, I need to explain a couple things to you. I am going to be doing a group workshop. God damn it. Thank you. No, I'm not naming it 12 anything. No, it's not a list. It's not a list. I hate lists. In fact, I hated even titling this top 10 myths. That made me feel bad. You made me feel bad. I will be doing a group session. I told you I was going to do this before. As you know, I've been very busy making films. But I'm going to do a trial run, a test run. And so what I'm going to do within the next day, like this week, I know I'll be in Tahoe, but it's not hard to do. I'm going to create a tier on my Patreon, and it's going to be the tier for guys who want to participate in a group session. And I haven't decided what the price is going to be, but it's going to be over $100. It might even be $200, but it's going to be, that's going to be the access tier on Patreon to be a participant of the workshops that I'm going to start doing. And again, this is a trial run. I don't know that I have no promises. Certainly after the book 4 is done, I'll probably will end up doing workshops, but I want to sort of just get into the swing of doing this. So what it'll be is just a Zoom call. Okay, this is not an affiliate marketing thing. This is just me saying, hey guys, let's get together and we're going to talk on a Zoom call. Okay. And if you're part of the $100 or $200 tier, whatever I end up making it, then, and I'm going to limit the number because I don't want, I think it doesn't, this is just me maybe, but I don't think it provides value to too many guys, because I can only focus on, as you know, I can only focus on so many super chats at one time. So I'm going to limit it just in the beginning. I might open it up more for future ones, but I am going to do a group counseling session. If you have hit me up in email, I have saved your emails. Like if you said, hey, what's counseling cost, or do you do independent counseling? Yes, I do. And I'm going to continue to do that. But I want to try this group thing first, because I think I can get to more guys. And it's more cost effective for you if I do it this way too. So I can get to more guys. We can do it for an hour to 2 hours is basically what I'm doing right here, except you get to participate this time. So we're going to do something like that. And And that's coming up. I will probably do that once I get back from Tahoe. So probably the last week of July, I'm going to try to do that maybe on a Wednesday, or well, I'll take a poll and I'll see like what works the best for most people. I'm going to do that. And that will lead into a future workshop thing that I'm going to do in August once the fifth book drops. And again, remember, the fifth book is not like this big grand production. It is in no way as involved as book 4. And this is just because I'm doing this in response to people who want a book on quote unquote game, right? So I'm putting this thing together. It's really not even taking me all that long to do, but I still think that if I'm going to do a book, I also want to have a conversation, because in the introduction of every one of my books, I say this: take that book and give it to somebody else, and then talk about it. Gift it to somebody else. Buy 2 of them and then keep one for yourself. You know, you have all your highlighters in that one, right? But do give it to somebody else and say, what do you think about this? Go through it chapter by chapter, or whatever that guy had. You're giving it to him for a particular reason. Talk to him about that and have that discussion, because that's really what it's about. And so I kind of want to get back to that. And the best way I can do that is to do like a Zoom call or do some sort of group kind of workshop, for lack of a better word, a workshop. So I'm going to be doing that. The trial run will be at the end of this month, and then I will carry it over into August if I think I can make it work. And it will certainly be going once I get the book going. So think of it. You can think of the book as kind of like the textbook for the workshop, I guess. I don't know. The Player's Handbook. I think I'm going to call it the Player's Handbook. All right, guys. Thank you for watching today. I hope this has been influential and educational for you, as well as entertaining. It's always sizzle with the steak, my friends. And I got Kevin Save-A-Hoe calling me, so I have to go. I will talk to you guys later. Or again, live shows or live. I'm not going to do a live one on Wednesday. That'll be a pre-recorded one, but I will also be doing various little quick hit videos in Lake Tahoe starting tomorrow all the way through the weekend of next week. So there, although I probably will not be able to get to it. Although I probably won't be able to get to it, I'll probably not be doing a live stream on Saturday or Sunday, but I might. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on what my access is, but I'll let you guys know throughout the week. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later.